A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Fed up with the everyday grind? Tired out from the summer heat? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure. You are deep in a fabulous mountain cavern, surrounded by a horde of menacing natives from a lost civilization, held at the mercy of the most beautiful woman in the world, the terrible queen called She. Tonight, we escape to uncharted Africa and to an incredible adventure, as H. Rider Haggard described it in his fantastic story, She.
In those days, I was a professor of archaeology at Oxford. And though this may account for my being able to understand some of those strange events which occurred later, it was in no respect a reason for my becoming involved in them. No, the real reason was unbelievably simple. I walked through the caves of the dead in the terrible and ancient city of Kor, crossed the awful abyss, and looked upon the flame of life, only because I was one of the ugliest men in England. Because of my appearance, I'd made few acquaintances and only two close friends. Roger Vinci first, and following his death, his son, Leo, whom he left behind. And it was that friendship which brought Leo Vinci to my chambers off the quadrangle. Late in the evening of the day he became 25 years old.
Today was the first I knew of it, Holly, when the attorneys called me in.
Yes?
They said Father instructed them the week before he died to give me the letter and this little bronze chest on my 25th birthday.
Strange. I mean, the chest. Designed on the lid, show Egyptian influence. It must be very old.
Well, according to Father's letter, it contains something over 2,000 years old.
Really?
Must have considered it rather important. He's closed the cover with a lead seal.
Yes, so I see.
At any rate, Holly, the letter doesn't tell us much. Suppose we see what's inside.
All right. I have a geology hammer here somewhere, my boy. Oh, here we are. And a chisel. Now, you hold it in place on the table here.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
All right.
Ah, there. It's pulling loose.
Yes. I did it.
Well, here goes. What the devil is that?
Why, it's a clay tile. An old Egyptian writing tablet. Yes. It's the kind used about the time of Nectanebes, around 340 B.C.
But the writing on it's not Egyptian. It's Greek.
Yes. And parts of it are broken away. Oh, it'll take some time to translate this, Leo.
Well, Father apparently did it, Holly.
Oh?
According to this paper. Listen, here's a translation.
Read it.
I am Anates, wife of Callicrates, say this to you, my son. Forced to escape the wrath of the great Nectanebes.
I thought so.
Your father and I fled southward across the waters and wandered for twice 12 moons upon the coast of Libya.
That's the old name for Africa, you know.
That faces the rising sun. And there by the mouth of a river where stands facing the sea a great mountain carved like the head of an Ethiopian.
What is it?
Nothing, Holly. Huh? It goes on. Following the river, we soon fell among... There's a row of asterisks.
That must be one of the places where the tile's broken. Go on, my boy.
To a hollow mountain where a great city once stood, and to the terrible caves of which no man had seen the end, and to she who must be obeyed.
She who must be... What's wrong, Leo?
I don't know, Holly. There's something familiar about that name, but I've never heard it before. Strange.
Well, come on, get on with it.
She who must be obeyed, who did lead us by awesome ways to the place where the great pit is, whose voice is like thunder. And she did show to us the rolling pillar of light, and did stand in the flames.
And she spake unto my, and there's a large fragment missing here. There isn't very much more. Picks up, carried far away on the ships where I gave birth to thee, and came hither to Athens at last. So I say to thee, by these things which I have told, seek out this place. Nor stay thy will until thou hast the secret of life for thyself. Sit then on the throne with the Pharaoh. And that's all, Holly. Now, what's it all about?
Leo, if your father knew, he kept it to himself. I don't know. It's all very strange.
Yes. Oh. Well, we'll know as soon as we reach the place.
I was hoping you'd say that. If you decided not to, I think I should have had a try at finding it alone.
Oh, I can't do anything else, Holly. It's more than curiosity. It's almost a compulsion. There's such a familiar feeling about all this. Even that mountain, Holly, shaped like the head of an Ethiopian.
Yes, what about it?
Well, off and on, ever since I was a kid, I've dreamed about a mountain like that. But why, Holly? Why should I?
That was the beginning. And some 3 months later, we drifted down the east coast of Africa, south of Zanzibar, searching the miles of jungle shores for the mountain carved like a head. There were 4 of us in the tiny sailing dhow. Leo and I, of course, along with Abdullah, the Arab boatman we'd hired in Aden, and finally a solid North countryman named Job, my servant for many years. We caught no sight of our landmarkers yet, but a native had told us of seeing it once years before, somewhere to the south. So our hopes held high, and we were confident luck was with us. And so it was, until one evening, just at dark.
That's a pretty stiff wind, Holly.
Yes.
You think Abdullah knows what he's doing?
We're rather close inshore, all right, Leo. I doubt if there's any danger, unless a squall hits.
Hey, by gouty, we're strangers here in an heathen land and all. Anything could happen.
It could, Joe, but let's assume that it won't. Huh? How's the dory making out back there?
Oh, trailing along all right behind us. Be in a bad spot if we lost it. We have guns, food, equipment, and everything in it.
Yes, I know, Joe. Leo, perhaps we shouldn't have packed the stuff that way, Leo. Should have kept it on board without...
No, Holly. We want to be ready to shove off up the river as soon as we sight that head. It would be a tough job loading that boat at sea.
We may not have had to, Leo. We've certainly found no reason to so far.
But we will. I've dreamed of it.
Hey, Master Ali, look!
It's the wind driving the water ahead of it. Abdullah! Stay under that tiller and head her into it.
I'll give him a hand, Holly.
Right.
Here, we've got a chance there.
Hold on to the mast, Joe.
We can all be down.
The great wave plunged over us, tore away the dory, swamped the dhow beneath our feet, and hurled us headlong into the foaming sea. Half smothered, fighting to stay afloat, borne shoreward by the drivers of the tempest, we were tossed at last, one by one, up onto the rain-swept beach. The calm dawn found us huddled together on the sand at the fringe of a dark and forbidding jungle. At the south lay the mouth of a small river, and to the north, the beach ended at the slope of a rocky headland. Leo and Job went to look at the wrecked dory, lying at the water's edge 100 yards away, while I searched the shoreline for some sign of our boatman. I found none, and we never saw Abdullah again.
Oh, Holly. Find any trace of him, Holly?
No sign, Leo. Said he's gone for good.
Oh, too bad.
What saves the dory in, Job?
Wrecked. Not a chance of fixing it. But the equipment seems to be all right, sir.
Oh, good. It's all there,
Yes, most of it. The lashings held and the waterproof case is still up very well. Only trouble is we're afoot.
Yes, we're going to have a lot of trouble following the coastline.
We won't follow any coastline, Holly.
What?
We're going up that river. Take a look at that headland there to the north.
Yes?
It shows up better from the wreck, Holly, but with the sun coming up now, you can see it from here, too.
Why, come, it's shaped like a human head.
That's it! That's the landmark!
Right, Holly. And that's the river Callicrates followed with his wife, the same one we're going to follow.
Oh, but Leo, with the boat gone, we shall have to break trail through that jungle and follow that riverbank.
Yes, we'd better get started.
Look, gentlemen, why can't we just stay here and try to signal some ship?
No, there's not much chance of it, Joe. They stay pretty clear of this coast. But anyway, this is what we've been looking for.
I don't really know what we are looking for, Leo. It's been more than 2,000 years since Callicrates went up that river. Things must have changed a great deal by now.
Holly, that carved head up there in the mountains. It looks exactly the way it always did when I dreamed about it.
It's incredible.
I've got a strange feeling that whatever Collar Critius and his wife found back there in the jungle will still be waiting there today.
For 5 hot, steaming days, we pushed inland through the jungle, following the banks of the muddy river. Mile by mile, the creeping undergrowth became more dense. The river shallowed and became sluggish, and the swamplands began to stretch out from the low banks. Foul pools and stagnant lagoons full of soft black mud covered over with a green scum made every step a hazard. Crocodiles slid away at our approach, and bright-colored snakes glided out from underfoot. Mile after mile, we forced our way through those evil swamps, each mile more difficult. And finally came the morning of the 6th day.
Oh, I don't know, Holly. If it gets any worse, we'll never make it.
Excuse me, butting in, gentlemen, but
Yes, sir.
I say we should turn back.
Oh, no, Joe. We've spent 5 days getting this far. This ashamed to waste it.
It's just the way I feel. We'll keep on as long as we can. Oh, but Leo. Oh, I know. I stumbled over something in the mire. Here, take a look at it. It's a rock. Look.
Yes. It's a square stone. It's been hand-cut. There's another. It's a section of an old wall of some sort, of a dike.
That's it, Holly. A long time ago, the river was held between stone dikes along here. Like a sort of canal.
Possible. That might account for the swampland. The dikes gradually fell to pieces. The river spread out through the jungle.
Of course. And, Holly, there could be only one reason for building them. So that boats or barges could come in from the ocean to some kind of a city.
Gentlemen, why don't we turn back while we can?
City. It had to be a long time ago. Centuries ago,
It
Leo.
could still be there, Holly. This place has never been explored. Nobody would ever try to come through these swamps.
It may include us if we keep them. Joe, what's the matter with you?
He must be. Oh, look.
Natives.
Ah,
Where the devil did they come from?
I don't know. Ooh, strange looking brute. Look at those clothes they're wearing.
Yes. I've never seen any quite like them. Exception.
Hey, look. Bakani Vico.
You recognize the dialect?
No, it's a little like Arabic. I might try that.
Sabul al-Hayya. Kaifa?
Go. Ni Bokan ni Rex.
I've never heard anything like it before.
Seem to want us to come along with them, Holly.
Yes.
You think we'd better chance it?
Well, they outnumber us 30 to 1, Leo.
Yes, and they're all carrying those stabbing knives. Well,
Taka Zedango.
hang on to your guns. They don't seem to know what they're for. Let's go.
Our strange escort moved rapidly ahead, twisting and turning as they followed some well-remembered trail of their own. We rested during the night on a hummock of dry ground and then struck out again at dawn. It was late afternoon when we left the swamp and climbed up a long slope to the foot of the rock-walled mountain. Reaching its base, we entered the mouth of a great cavern, and a short way inside, we led into a small side chamber, carved from the living rock and lighted by a reed wick floating in a jug of oil. And then the strange natives went away and left us, and we sat about on the floor, trying to plan some course of action.
Oh, how long do you suppose we've been here, Holly?
Close to 2 hours, I'd say. Yeah. It's dark outside by now.
Holly, do you have any idea what race they belong to? They're not like any other natives in this part of Africa.
Oh, I've seen people much like them in some of the villages in southern Egypt, Leo. But I don't know any more about it than that.
They wear those odd tunics, too. Cotton or linen, I suppose. Those bronze headbands. Must have been out of contact with the rest of the world for centuries, Holly.
Heathens, that's what they are, and up to no good so far as we're concerned. That's
You
what
may
I
be right,
think.
Joe, but I still want to find out about the other things Eminati's wrote on the tile. Steve Corn, Pillar of Fire, she who must be obeyed.
We found the caves, at least. Though I can't see anything so terrible about them.
Perhaps we haven't seen everything the case.
Ni Boho.
Oh,
Ni Baho.
our little chum.
Then ye back up.
He seems to want us to follow it.
Well,
hang on to your gun.
right you are. Stick close together. Don't let them separate us. All right, Joe? Come, let's go.
Our strange guide led us along the twisting, branching passageways, lighting our way with a flaming torch that threw weird shadows on the walls of solid rock. Now and then we passed side chambers lined with long rows of stone slabs. And then I saw that each slab held the sheeted figure of a human body. And I realized these caves were one vast crypt filled with the mummified bodies of some vanished race. Gradually, as we moved on, a most remarkable sound began to grow louder, made up of the guttural voices of a crowd, the throbbing of drums, and the moan of some strange musical instrument. Suddenly, the narrow passage opened out into a great hollowed cavern where natives danced and postured in the eerie glare from 100 huge torches placed about the walls. I stared in amazement. For the torches were flaming mummies tied upright to the posts, and the guide had lighted our way through the passages with a human arm.
Nebok. Org, Jane.
I think he means for us to walk towards that platform in the center.
Yes. There's a pit of coals burning in the top of it.
Nebok.
Come on. Watch it, Holly. I don't like the looks of this.
All right. Keep your gun handy, Leo. Stay right with us, Joe.
They look anything but friendly.
If anything starts, try to get on the platform. They've got no weapons except those staring knives, remember.
Here we are. Now what?
The barn is that.
It's quite some fire they've got built up. Can't understand what they need
Oh!
to do.
Joe, look out, Holly, the shield's going. The devil's back against the wall, Leo. Watch it, here they come. All right, you.
Step, Joe, but not a chance.
What are you left? Holly, let's try for the place. Hand those it up.
What the deuce is this?
Old man in a long white robe.
Hold your gun ready, Leo. We'll see what happens.
There, Andy. Andy, boat.
Well, they're scared to death of him, whoever he is.
Wait, he's coming our way.
I presume you speak English, gentlemen.
Yes, but you do.
Occasionally, natives from the south have come through the swamps, and we have captured them. I have learned many of the languages of the outside world. I am Bilali.
Leo Vinci, and this is Mr. Holly.
I am most sorrowful for the death of your companion.
Oh, yes. Poor Joe.
My children have no excuse. They know the law. From now on, you will be allowed to complete freedom. No white man is ever to be eaten.
Eaten?
That is what would have been done to you. But rest assured, her law is just, and their punishment will be swift.
Whose law?
That of she who must be obeyed.
Holly. This is it, Holly. We're still on the right trail.
She has demanded your presence. I have come to take you to the place where she is.
Tell me, Bilali, who or what is this she who must be obeyed? A goddess? A queen? A white woman?
I could not say, my son. I have never seen she. Come along.
Again through those tortuous passages, two of us now, with kindly old Bilali leading the way, until he left us alone at last in a large chamber hung with brilliant-colored silk, fitted with soft divans, and lighted by crystal lamps. We stood there several minutes, not speaking, wondering. When suddenly, the curtains across the doorway parted, and a most amazing figure stood before us. It was swathed in folds of filmy white draperies, with soft, gauzy veils covering even face and hands.
I bid you welcome to the city of Kor, Callicrates and friend of Callicrates.
I'm not Callicrates. I'm Leo Vinci, and this is my friend, Mr. Holly.
Leo Vinci. Vengeance. No matter, you will understand.
Are you...
I am she.
You must forgive us if we find it difficult to understand it. What is all this? These caves, the natives? What is Kor?
Kor is a great city that rose up and then died many thousand years ago. These are the caves of Kor. The city itself stands farther on, in a huge crater at the heart of the mountain.
Are you a descendant of Kor?
I came from another place, far away, and Kor was dead long before I found it. The natives know me as a fearsome figure in white, and they obey me.
They have never seen you?
No, Holly. Not one of them has ever seen behind these veils.
It's amazing to think that Callicrates must have been here in this same place over 2,000 years ago.
2,287 years ago. Callicrates died in this very chamber.
You speak as though you saw it happen.
I did see it happen. I killed him.
But you couldn't. That was over 2,000 years ago.
Yes. And at that time, I had been here in Kor for more than 500 years.
Impossible.
How do you know? You haven't seen me.
But then you claim to be immortal.
Yes. As he could have been had he stepped with me into the flames of life. As you can be my Callicrates, if you so choose.
I hope you'll forgive me, but I can't believe anything so fantastic.
Is it proof you need? Proof that I once did an evil act in anger and paid for it by waiting alone through all these centuries. Proof that my waiting is ended now? Then look upon it behind this curtain.
A mummy. A mummy like those out in the caves.
But look at the face.
Leo, it's you. That's you lying there.
That is the body of Callicrates, whom I loved, and whom I killed in anger when he refused to leave her and stay with me to become immortal. His wife Aminates fled across the mountains and later gave birth to his son, your ancestor.
Then, Leo, that clay tile has been handed down in your family for over 20 centuries.
I have paid for my sin, and I have waited, knowing that someday my Callicrates would be born to me again, would come back to Kor and find me.
It was as though I had to. I dreamed of that carved mountain before I'd ever seen it. And your name, she who must be obeyed. It struck some chord in my memory the first time I heard it.
It is your heart that must be obeyed now, my beloved. The decision is yours whether to leave me once again now that you have found me, or to walk with me into the pillar of life, to love me and to become immortal.
Yes. I feel somehow that this is the ending of something I've been moving toward all my life. Leo. But it isn't possible. Immortality. And how can you love someone you've never seen?
Then you shall see, my beloved. I've worn these veils for you, and for you I... Look.
Oh.
The soft veil slid off from her shoulders, and she stood revealed before us, the most beautiful woman the world has ever seen.
Will you leave me now, my Callicrates, or come with me to the flame of life?
I'll go with you anywhere. Anywhere.
We talked the night away in the chamber, Leo and I fascinated by every word that fell from those lovely lips. She talked of the hidden knowledge of ancient lands, sang softly of her thoughts in rhyme, and spoke once again the words of long-dead poets, forgotten by the world. She made us believe in her own immortality and in ours to come. And before dawn, with Holly with us, we followed her madly and joyously through the dim and dusty passage that led to the flame of life. We came to a great abyss with a narrow ledge crossing over it like a rainbow rock. There Bilali waited, and we three went on alone. At the sight of the awful depths beneath us, Leo and I shuddered in spite of ourselves and moved carefully, step by step. She never hesitated, but swayed along gaily before us like a feather borne on a breeze. Finally, we stood in a vast circular chamber, a great bubble in the earth's crust, whose walls were shining black basalt.
Ollie, I see there by the wall. Looks like the body of a man.
An old philosopher, my beloved, who came here many centuries ago. He sat and watched the flame and could not decide whether he should become immortal. Finally, he died.
And you? Have you never regretted becoming immortal?
I could not have waited for Callicrates, Holly, had I not been immortal. But you, Leo, perhaps you have doubts.
Immortality will not even be long enough with you. Where is the flame?
Listen, even now it approaches. It advances and then retreats, a never-ending cycle of life. It has moved along its path through this cavern since the beginning of time.
Ollie, look!
Do not fear it, beloved. See, this time I will step into the flame alone. And when it comes again, you may join me.
Like the fire of the sun and the dust of 1,000,000 diamonds.
As the great and terrible pillar of flame approached, she threw up her veil and opened her arms to it, and the eternal fire flowed over her. It passed and left her there, standing with her head bowed.
Are you all right? It didn't harm you?
No, my beloved. Can one find harm in the flame that created life itself? Do you believe that...
What's wrong? Tell me what's wrong.
The flame was different somehow. Now that Callicrates has returned, the curse of everlasting life is lifted.
Leo, she's aging, growing old.
Oh, no. I do not... If I go, search for me. Search.
Merciful heaven.
Oh, no. No!
Even as Leo's hands reached out to touch her, they closed on a dry heap of soft, gray dust. I knew now that neither of us would step into the flame, and I knew we would spend our lives searching through the world for she. I seemed to hear in my mind once again words she had spoken in those glorious hours the night before. I knew that Leo was hearing them too, and that neither of us, so long as we lived, could ever forget that lovely voice.
Nay, not in Kor, but in whatever spot, in town or field, or by the insatiate sea, men brood on buried love, or unforgot, or break themselves on some divine decree, or would o'erleap the limits of their lot. There, in the tombs and deathless, dwelleth she.
Escape, produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, tonight brought you She by H. Rider Haggard, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Featured in tonight's cast were Barry Kroger, Larry Dobkin, Kay Brinker, Ben Wright, and Wilms Herbert. Special music by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are clinging precariously to a diving, pitching longboat, lashed by mountainous seas in the center of a hurricane. And at the helm, driving you on, is a man bent on revenge and willing to kill for it.
Next week, we escape with F.R. Buckley's exciting story, Habit. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Fed up with the everyday grind? Tired out from the summer heat? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are clinging precariously to a diving, pitching longboat, lashed by mountainous seas in the middle of a hurricane. And at the helm, driving you on, is a man bent on revenge and willing to kill for it.
Tonight, we escape to the open sea with an ancient tramp steamer and its fighting captain, as F.R. Buckley told it in his ironic story, Habit.
Very well. The court has no more questions. Step down, please.
Thank you, sir. Your Honor.
Well, Captain Weatherfield, you've just heard the complaining witness. Have you anything to say in your own defense?
Yeah. Hit the man about a bit. No doubt of that, Your Honor. In fact, with half chance, I'd have pounded his blasted head off.
Quiet! Quiet! We'll have order in the court. Then you admit the charges, Captain Weatherfield.
That I hit him? Yeah. But I had extenuating circumstances, Your Honor.
I see. And what were they?
He laughed at my ship. At the Wakeling, Your Honor. As fine a freighter as ever steamed out of here on the Liverpool run.
I don't quite see.
He stood there on the wharf. Squint-eyed son of a landlubbered lawyer. He said my ship looked like an old woman, with her dress on backwards, her hair not combed. That's when I flattened him out.
Yes, and I still say that's what she looks like.
Order!
Why, you confounded little pipsqueak, I'll break your part.
Sit him down, Captain Weatherfield. Grab him, bailiff.
Let go of me, confounded, let go of me. Let go of me, I say.
Order in the court. Captain Weatherfield. Captain Weatherfield, this court finds you guilty of assault and battery as charged, and sentences you to 7 days in the New Bristol City Jail. All right, bailiff. Lock him up.
And that's the way it started, with the captain getting 7 days in the New Bristol jail. Yeah, but it went a whole lot further before it was over. It was like a bolt of chain lightning that may take a dozen strange turns or more before it finally strikes home. And, actually, of course, the Wakeling was a funny-looking old scow. She'd had 30 years in the North Atlantic with never a part being replaced so long as there was some way of patching it up. Yeah, she was a regular joke of a ship. That is, to everybody except Captain Weatherfield. And those of us who were officers aboard her had learned a long time before not to hint anything like that to him. No, she was the Queen Mary and the Normandy and his firstborn child, all rolled up into one. So you can bet your life we all kept sober faces when the captain finally came aboard at the end of the week.
Mr. Connolly?
Yes, sir.
Well, everything in order? Will we be able to sail in an hour?
Yes, sir. I've been keeping her ready for the last 4 days, just in case
that will do. I'm fully aware that we're 4 days past schedule. And the reason for it will not be discussed on board. Is that clear?
Yes, Captain.
I've been badly treated in this town, Mr. Connolly. Thrown behind bars like some thieving dock rat. I don't feel good about it. And if it takes me the rest of my life, I'm going to even up the score. Do you understand that?
I think so.
You think so, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Then button up your collar and go get up a head of steam.
So 3 days later, we were plowing through a heavy sea 580 miles out on the Atlantic. The spray was freezing in the rigging. We were flirting with the fringe of a northeast hurricane.
Blast this double-blasted, confounded wind. Mr. Conway. Well, how's she looking, Mr. Connolly?
Not so bad. We're taking the seas on our quarter, and so far we're making only about 4 inches of water an hour.
4 inches of water an hour, sir?
Yes, sir.
Good. Then we'll take a chance on it.
Take a chance on what, sir?
A distress message. Just picked it up at the wireless shack.
Oh.
Here, take a look.
Mm-hmm. The freighter Johannes out of New Bristol. Main shaft broken, auxiliaries out of commission, shipping water fast. Latitude 4630, longitude... let me see. Yeah, about 90 miles from us, north and west.
Yeah, that's right, Mr. Conley. Lay out the course.
What?
We should sight her sometime around dawn. If we hold to full speed all night.
Full speed? Dead into a hurricane? Why, the Wakeland would fall apart in 2 hours.
I doubt it. She's a good ship. Lay out the course.
Yeah, but the Johannes is right in the main shipping lane. Somebody else is bound to pick her up before morning anyway.
Mr. Connolly, we can hope not.
What do you mean, hope not?
Evidently you didn't notice her registry, Mr. Connolly. She's out of New Bristol.
Well, what of it?
That, as you may recall, is the town that threw me into jail. Gotten all the papers. Like as not, my daughters up in Maine have probably read about it by now. I'll not have them thinking their father's a man who does nothing but go around punching people in the noggin.
All right, but what's it got to do with this?
I'm going to be alongside the Johannes before anybody else is, Mr. Connolly. I'm going to rescue every man aboard her. Then I'm going to take them back to New Bristol and get a public apology out of that town. And I'll see that gets in the papers, too.
I've never heard of anything so crazy.
I don't care what you've never heard of, Mr. Connolly. Lay out that course now before I get mad. Decide to punch somebody's blasted head off.
Well, the little cock of the walk made good the first part of his plan all right. In spite of a broken steam injector that had to be patched up with rigging wire, by shortly after dawn he had us hove to, half a cable length off from the Johannes. She was down by the stern, listing badly, but still afloat. The wind was howling like a banshee, and the flying spume was freezing all over our decks. There was no doubt that the next part of our job was going to be a lot tougher than the first part.
Mr. Connolly, we got a boat crew together.
Yes, sir. There'll be 5 seamen and a third mate. I'll take charge myself.
Leave the third mate aboard. I'll take charge myself. My show. I'm going to run it.
All right, Captain. Whatever you say.
Well, let's hold this up. Let's get this boat over the side.
Lots of frozen, Captain. Carpenter's trying to break it loose.
Well, he's not cracking walnuts at the tea party. Here, Chips, give me that mallet. Mr. Moritz!
Yes, sir.
You'll stay on board.
Yes, sir.
Keep an oil slick running. Waves out there. Pretty high.
Pretty high?
I've never seen him any higher.
Well, I can't help it, Mr. Conley. I've got to... There, that's it. Boat crew ready.
Ready aboard, sir.
All right, there. Lower away.
For the 7 of us who went overside in the longboat, that command was the beginning of a nightmare. If things had been bad up on the Wakeland's deck, they were 100 times worse down there in the very midst of that smashing, that tumbling maelstrom of water and wind. A continuous driving spray was torn from the wave crests and froze solid on the gunwales and the boat seats and on our faces. One man bailed constantly while the others pulled away on the oars with bleeding hands. And even then, we were never far from foundering. Captain Weatherfield sat in the stern and shouted orders none of us could hear, but we could see his face, and that was enough to keep us at it. With a halo of sheet glass round his sou'wester and his gray beard turned to a frozen mass of jumbled icicles, he looked like Neptune come to life, or maybe even more like the devil himself. it took us over 2 hours before we finally hauled in against the rusty side of the battered old Johannes.
Ahoy, the deck! Aye, sir! In what to do? Hot to a smelter! You'll have to jump for it. Can't use a ladder. Sea's too heavy. Understand? Already here. Wait till we come up by the swell. We'll hold as steady as we can. Stand by now. No, not yet.
Good Lord, he fell on the gun.
Blasted fool told him to wait.
He smashed in his chest. Why, it's the captain of the ship.
Then he had no business jumping first anyhow. Haul him aboard, Mr. Conley. Get him out of the way. All right. Ready on deck? All right there. Steady. Now! Good. Stove that man aft there. On deck. Wait for the swell. Wait. Now! Get him, Connolly. A blast the sea. You on deck. Jump now! Wait. The men help him out there. Here comes another. Catch him. There you go. Pull him in, Connolly. Good. Back horse, you. Stand by. Fore and aft flanker. Here comes another one. Hold her steady. Keep one on against the side there. Anybody else up there, mister?
No, sir. 6 of us. Others lost overboard last night.
All right, then. Back off the oars. You there, Polano. Get a hold of that oar.
He can't do it very well with only one arm, Captain.
What do you mean, one arm?
He broke his arm a couple of minutes ago when we bumped the side.
Then give him a bucket. At least he can bail. All right, let's go.
It was 6 hours before we finally got back aboard the Wakeling. But we did get back. And I doubt if any other man but Captain Weatherfield could have done it. True enough, he fainted across the engine room hatch once we were on board. But don't forget, he was 72 years old. He'd taken a crew of 6 out in an open boat on the high seas in the middle of a hurricane, rescued 6 more men off a sinking ship, and brought the whole 12 back alive. Well, one of them, of course, was only barely alive, and that was Captain Miller of the Johannes. He was still unconscious. I had him put in a bunk and hoped for the best. And then I turned in to grab a few hours' sleep. I guess it was sometime after midnight when the third mate called me. I got dressed, went down, woke up the captain.
Confound it, Mr. Conley. Can't a man even close his eyes aboard this ship without somebody rousing him out of his bunk?
I'm sorry, Captain. Thought you ought to know. Miller's conscious now and wants to see you. He thinks he's dying.
Dying, is it?
Yeah.
I'll see about that. Where's my pants?
Here you are, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, might be a good thing if Miller did die, according to his first mate, Larson.
Huh?
Well, Larson says they had plenty of warning of this storm, but Miller drove straight on into it. He was racing for port.
Oh, racing for port.
Yeah.
Bad business.
There'll be an inquiry on it. He'll lose his ticket when they find out.
It's also bad business, Mr. Conley, when first mates talk out of turn. Come on. Where is he?
I put him in the cabin off the wardroom. The third mate's in there with him now.
How is the ship heading?
Due south.
Due south?
Well, we're running before the wind. Can't do anything else.
I told you, Mr. Connolly, to lay a course for New Bristol.
I know, but we can't do it. The main boiler's out, and we're on the auxiliaries. It may take 2 days to fix it.
Confound the luck. Risk my life to rescue a man. Tries to die on me. Now that bonehead engineers let the main boiler break down.
That's not his fault. It should have been replaced 5 years ago.
5 years ago? What, Mr. Connolly?
5 years ago, sir.
Good.
Here we are.
Oh, glad you got here, sir. I was getting worried.
It's all right, Mr. Roberts. Here, stand back a bit and hold the light up.
Yes.
There, that's fine. Evening, Captain Miller.
Evening, Captain.
You're in some pain, I take it?
Yeah. Feels like something sharp. Sticking in my chest. Getting worse.
Something sharp, eh? No doubt the broken end of a rib poking into your lungs.
Yeah. Guess so.
There you are. Feels like there's a rib gone here.
want to make a statement of the log.
Oh, I do. I figure you're getting ready to die, is that it?
Yeah. Not much chance. Shouldn't I jump first?
No, you shouldn't have. Understand you was racing for pot. Drove straight into the storm.
Yeah. I had to. It's my wife. Her first baby. Wanted to be with her.
What's he saying, sir?
Wife's thinking of having a baby, Roberts.
Oh.
Statement. Responsibility.
We'll discuss that later, Captain. That lung gets a hole punched in it. You're done for.
He's practically done for now.
You know, Mr. Conley, I saw a doctor open up a man once and take a broken rib out of him. Think I can remember fairly well how he went about it. And there ought to be some chloroform on board.
Captain Weatherfield.
You shut up, Mr. Conley. Captain Miller, it's one chance in a million, but you've got no chance now. How about it?
Anything. Doesn't matter. Be an inquiry report. Better to die.
Well, we'll worry about that later. All right, then. Go find that chloroform, Mr. Roberts.
Yes, sir.
And bring me a bar of soap.
Yes.
And get a couple of them little knives, whatever they call them, out of the medicine locker.
Yes, sir, right away.
Mr. Conley, go wake up that first mate of his. Get him in here. We'll need a witness to Captain Miller's consent.
All right, sir.
And Mr. Connolly.
Yes, sir.
Find Chips and borrow his chest of tools. Never can tell what you'll find when you start to open a man up.
In 10 minutes, we had everything ready. Larson signed a statement, swearing that Captain Miller had agreed to it. And the third mate, with his face white as a sheet, stood at the head of the bunk, dripping chloroform onto a towel and holding it over Miller's nose and mouth. I held the light in one hand and kept the other on the patient's pulse, while Captain Weatherfield rolled up his sleeves and started in on a major operation that he thought he'd seen some doctor perform once.
Everything's snug and proper. How's he seem to be getting along, Mr. Connolly?
I don't know. He's still breathing.
I know he's breathing, man. It's his chest I'm operating on. How's his pulse?
Pretty weak. No worse than it was.
Keep that chloroform dripping, Mr. Roberts.
Yes, sir.
Well, there's no time like the present. Hold that light steady, Mr. Conley.
Yes, sir.
Steady yourself. Now, let me see. I think that doctor did it like this.
I've used up half the chloroform, Captain.
Keep it dripping, Roberts. Well now. Don't remember anything like that being in there. Let's see now.
Pulse is getting pretty weak.
Mr. Connolly, don't bother me. Got more important things here to think about. That's it. Here's the end of the rib, all right. Now, if I can just... That's all right, let it go. Don't need the knife anymore. Confound it, Conley. Give me a little more room to work in. Cabin's small enough as it is.
Captain, his pulse has stopped.
No, it hasn't, Mr. Conley. Now, where the devil doesn't that rib come loose when I...
It's no use, Captain. He's dead. His heart stopped beating.
Mr. Connolly, don't stand there. Try to tell me his heart stopped when I can see it beating right now. Mr. Larson.
Yes, sir.
Would you look at that tool chest behind you? See if you can find me a pair of pliers.
I doubt if there's ever been another operation like it before or since. By all rights, Captain Miller should have died 10 times over, right there on the bunk. Only he didn't. He was unconscious for 48 hours. But on the 5th day, he was sitting up on a deck chair and cussing because somebody had slung his broken rib overboard instead of saving it so he could whittle out a letter opener. We were driven 600 miles to the south before the storm blew itself out, and we got the main boiler back into operation and could lay a course for New Bristol. And 3 days away from port, Captain Weatherfield called all of us officers of the Wakeland together in the chart room, along with First Mate Larson of the Johannes.
Gentlemen, There may be some questions in your minds in regard to what this meeting is all about. No doubt you're wondering, even if you aren't asking. Am I right?
Well, yes, sir. We have been trying to guess.
Then I'll tell you, gentlemen. I called this meeting to put a stop to certain idle rumors, which I hear have been floating around.
Just what kind of rumors, Captain Weatherfield?
Them which says that Captain Miller of late ship Johannes deliberately drove head-on into a storm while racing to make port.
There's no rumor about that. It's what he was doing. As his first mate, I should know.
And I say he wasn't, Mr. Larson. The way I figure it, got caught by the storm without any warning. He gave orders for full speed to try to beat out of it. A couple of hours later, main shaft broke, left him helpless without steerage way. Could happen to anybody.
Maybe. Only it didn't. I was there, Captain Weatherfield. I know what happened. And there's 5 of my crew left to back me up.
They'll back up anything you say, Mr. Larson. You know that.
And there's nothing to talk about. When the Board of Inquiry gets through with Miller, he won't command another ship as long as he lives.
So, there's not going to be any Board of Inquiry.
Maybe that's not up to you.
Which is what we're here to decide.
I don't get it, Captain. Miller's a rat. He was the first one to jump when we come alongside. Anything that happens to him serves him right. Now, why should you stick up for him?
My personal opinion of the man has nothing to do with this, Mr. Conley. I say there'll be no Board of Inquiry because it suits my purposes that there be none.
And just what are your purposes, Captain?
I drove my ship 90 miles off her course in a hurricane, risked my life in an open boat, just for one reason, Mr. Larson. Because I knew you were registered out of New Bristol.
Ah, so that's it.
Aye, Mr. Conley, that's it. I operated on a man, saved his life just so he could stand up alongside of me, have our pictures taken for the newspapers.
I get it. So you don't want some messy Board of Inquiry throwing scandal in the story of your noble rescue on the high sea, huh? You want to be a blasted hero.
Mr. Larson, being a hero has got nothing to do with it. But I am planning to get a public apology out of the town of New Bristol. And you, or nobody else, is going to do anything to stop me.
Yeah, well, it's too bad you haven't got the whole say about it, Captain.
And it's too bad you're so bull-headed, set on swearing away your captain's ticket, that you forced me to teach you a lesson.
And just how are you aiming to do that?
By knocking a little sense into your thick noggin, something like this.
So it's a fight you're after. All right. Come on, Captain. Teach me a lesson.
I'm the one you learned in Shanghai.
I'll teach you all right.
You got it, Captain.
Yes, up, Mr. Larson.
I'll get up. All right.
He's got a pair of dividers.
No, you tried to stab me. Would you? Well, Larson, what about it?
All right. I'm through.
There going to be a Board of Inquiry?
I'll back up anything you say.
Good. What about the rest of you? Anything I say go?
Yes, sir.
All right, then. Get back on watch. What do you think this is, a peaceful harbor of a Sunday?
It was a clear, sunshiny day when we steamed into New Bristol Harbor and dropped anchor at the mouth of the river. Captain Weatherfield sent Miller on ashore at quarantine, insisting that his reason was not just to make sure of having a reception ready. Nonetheless, he spent an hour and a half shaving, trimming his hair, and dressing up in his best shore-going clothes. But he had a right to strut a little at that. He'd moved through a whole series of tough jobs, every one against almost impossible odds, and he'd come out on top. And all because he wanted his daughters up in Maine to know he could do something once in a while besides punch people in the noggin. It was mid-afternoon by the time we finally rowed ashore in the longboat, and a good-sized crowd had assembled on the wharf. And when we got in close, we could see Captain Miller waiting by the landing along with a regular reception committee, all dressed up in striped pants and top hats like a bunch of foreign diplomats. And the head man of the whole layout was the same judge who'd given the captain 7 days in jail.
Easy now, Mr. Conley.
I'll hold it steady, sir.
Thank you.
Well, welcome, Captain Weatherfield, on behalf of the town of New Bristol.
Well, now, it's mighty nice of you, Judge.
Not at all, Captain. We're the ones who are honored. The whole town. And we want you to know it.
Well, thank you, Judge.
Captain Miller here has given us the complete story. The rescue at sea, the daring operation that saved his life.
Here. How you feeling, Captain Miller?
A little tired right now, Captain. Been pretty busy. Arranging things, you know.
Here, of course.
You're a hero in this town, Captain Weatherfield. There's nothing too good for you. We're proud of you.
I was wondering if you'd recall a little incident where we met before, Judge, not so long ago.
A terrible mistake. I'll never forgive myself. I feel I owe you a public apology, Captain Weatherfield.
Well, now, don't believe I know just what to say, Judge.
Nothing at all to say, Captain Weatherfield. As I said before, we're the ones who are honored. The whole town of New Bristol. And all of New England, too, by Jove. Once those reporters get their stories on the wire.
Reporters, eh? Well, now, that's going to too much trouble, Judge.
Oh, not at all, Captain, not at all. They'll be wanting an interview with you, you know. We've had quite a time keeping them off this long. You're a hero, man. Don't you realize that?
I only did my duty, Judge.
The New Bristol needs more men who only do their duty, Captain Weatherfield.
Mighty nice of you to say so.
When I recall the way you were treated here a few weeks ago, Captain, well, all I can do is to ask your forgiveness publicly.
I suspect that might be arranged, Judge. I'm not a man to bear a grudge.
A fact which your actions have proven, sir.
Them there fellows with the cameras, are they reporters, are they?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed, Captain. Well, of course, they're photographers, really.
They're taking them pictures to print in the newspapers, are they?
That's right, Captain. They'll be seen by people all over the country.
Yeah. I suppose we might walk over that way?
Certainly, Captain Weatherfield. Certainly. Anything you like. Won't you join us, Captain Miller?
Thanks, gentlemen. You know, I was just thinking, if they print a picture of that ship out there, nobody will believe the story.
What did you say, Captain Miller?
I said they wouldn't believe it. To look at that old mud sky, you wouldn't think she could float in the calm sea, much less...
Good heavens, he struck the man.
I'll teach you to call my ship a mud scow. Squint-eyed son of a five-legged salamander.
Stop, I say! Stop! Thank you! Stop it! Stop it! Constable! Constable! Arrest that man and lock him up! I'm filing a charge of assault and battery!
Escape, produced and directed by Norman MacDonald, tonight brought you Habit by F.R. Buckley, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Featured in tonight's cast were John Daner as Mr. McConley and Louis Van Rooten as Captain Weatherfield, with Wilms Herbert as Captain Miller, Barry Kroger as the judge, and Bill Boucher as First Mate Larson. Special music by Ivan Ditmars. Next week,
you are making your painful way over the great India desert, alone and dying of thirst, while behind you, pursuing you, are the fanatical Kafirs, who once bowed to you as king, and now call for your life.
Next week, we escape with Rudyard Kipling's exciting story, The Man Who Would Be King. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Fed up with the everyday grind? Tired out from the summer heat? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are making your painful way over the great India desert, alone and dying of thirst, while behind you, pursuing you, are the fanatical Kafirs who once bowed to you as king, and now call for your life.
Tonight, we escape to India and two soldiers of fortune who pushed fate too far, as Rudyard Kipling told it in his famous story, The Man Who Would Be King.
One Saturday night, it was my unpleasant duty to put the paper to bed alone. It was a pitchy black night, as stifling as a night can be in India in June. It was very still, save for the ticking of the clock above my desk, which seemed to shatter the black heat of the night as the hands crept toward 3 a.m. And then from the passage outside my door, I heard voices. Yeah, who's there?
Only us.
And who are you?
Oh, so you don't remember us, eh?
No, I can't.
How about
say
the
that,
job per border, then?
Job per border?
Yeah, and having the authorities turn us back for impersonating newspapermen.
Newspapermen?
And then there was the train.
Yeah, off of which you had us thrown, if I remember correct.
Oh, wait. That flaming red hair. That bald head. Oh, Daniel Dravett and Peachy Carnahan.
The same.
Well, what do you two want this time? If it's money, I haven't got it. And if it's a fight, it's too beastly hot.
You can rest yourself easy, sir, because we have come asking for naught except some information.
We've been all over this country, and we've concluded that India isn't big enough for such as Daniel and me.
So, we are going away to be kings.
Kings in our own divine right.
What?
Aye, we shall be kings.
Yeah, we've signed a solemn contract, each to help the other, and neither of us to look at liquor or women until we have become kings.
I've never heard of such a fantastic idea. Well, what do you want of me?
Naught but a look at such maps of Kafiristan as you might have of that.
Maps of Kafiristan?
That's where we decided to go.
Well, don't you realize that not one single Englishman has ever gone into the Kafiristan mountains and lived to come out again? You're a good deal more likely to become dead men than kings.
Yeah, we'll sure.
Anyway, I don't believe you have the slightest intention of traveling a mile outside of Delhi.
Then you should come down to the Sarai marketplace in the morning, down where the caravans leave for the north.
Now, look, you two. I'm a newsman, not a nomad. Now, why should I come down to that filthy pest hole?
I'm not so sure that you're either.
What do you mean?
You say you're a newsman, but here's the chance to see the start of the greatest story of all time. And you'd pass it up.
Because you're too blasted lazy to get up that early in the morning. Come along, Dravett, me lad.
Yeah, but if you should have a change of heart, come to the Sarai in the morning and see whether we be liars or not.
And so they left, those two lovable scoundrels. And I sat alone in my office, thinking. The kings of Kafiristan. Kings indeed. But then, perhaps, just perhaps, they might pull it off. And it would be something to cable home. And so it was that the next morning I was making my way through the dirty, milling crowds of the Sarai marketplace.
Upon all pigs, dogs, and
You should not laugh at him, Sahib. The witless are under the protection of Allah.
Quite so, boy, quite so. Who is the fellow, anyway?
A mad priest, Sahib, who has arrived only this morning from Ajmer.
I see.
You, Sahib. Come, look at my camel. Loaded with toys to please the eye of an army.
Yeah, now. Go about your business. I haven't any use for toys.
These are wondrous toys indeed, Sahib. Fit for a king of Kafiristan.
What? My good Lord. Daniel Dravett.
Quiet, come along. I have two camels just beyond the wall here. The blessings of Pir Khan on the gracious Sahib who consents to look at the poor toys of a priest from Ajmer. Over this way.
Where's Carnahan?
Here we are. Permit me to present my servant, Azamir Khan.
At your service, Governor.
Well, How
do you like our disguises? Do they pass?
If they fool this crowd in the Sarai, they're probably good enough to get you across the border. And good enough to get you killed.
Yeah, getting killed is no part of the contract Peachy and me drawed up. Although, perhaps killing fits in with our plans in a different sense. Feel around underneath the toys there in the camel bag.
What? My good Lord, a rifle.
20 brand new Lee Enfields with ammunition to match.
And 20 good reasons to make your death certain. Any patron of the hill tribes would kill his own mother to get a rifle.
Now, who would harm? A poor mad priest, Sahib. Allah protects me.
Mad is right.
And so was Lord Clive, and Rhodes, and Bonaparte. Drive out the camels, P.T. We have a long way to go before we become kings.
As I stood and listened to the camel bells fade away in the distance, I wondered if it might not be a glorious thing to go to Kafiristan and be a king. Three years pass in India much as they pass in any other land. It grows hot, then the rains come, and then the heat again. Some colonel at a hill station puts down an uprising. A new viceroy comes out from London. The paper duly records the death of a sultan in Rajputana. And the trees in the courtyard grow a few feet taller. And finally, time in its circle turned up another night, much like the one 3 years before. Once again, I sat alone in the office, listening to the clock, and waiting for some unimportant item to come over the wire from Europe. It was long after midnight when my office door slowly opened. Well, I say, you might knock first, you know.
Knock? Knock?
Good Lord, man. What's wrong?
You don't know who I am, do you?
No, I haven't the faintest idea. But here, you'd better sit down, old fellow. You're in a bad way.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's a whole year I've been walking. Right here in this very office we settled it. You sitting right there and giving us the maps. And you've been sitting there ever since? 3 years.
No. Man couldn't change that much in 3 years. You're not Peachy Carnahan.
Yes. I was the king of Kafiristan. Me and Daniel Travers. Real crown kings we was. Just as true as gospel.
What in the name of heaven have they done to you, Peachy?
Peachy? I knew Peachy Carnahan once. He's a king. With a real golden crown on his head. So help me, he does. He's dead now.
No. You're Peachy Carnahan. You are. Now you must pull yourself together.
Yeah. Pull myself. You've got to keep looking into my eyes. Maybe everything won't go to pieces.
All right. Now, tell me what happened, Peachy.
We left the caravan at Jagdala, and we struck off into the hills alone.
Yes, go on.
Weeks it was we travelled, Daniel and me. First there wasn't no roads, and after a while, no food. But there was always the drums. Sometimes they was close, sometimes farther off. Most of the time we could hear them somewhere.
Hold on there. Here now. It's no place to be stopping. Up with you.
I'm fearing it's no use, Daniel.
What's got into them?
Well, the poor beasts are done in and starved, same as ourselves. They'll go no further.
And we'll go on without them. I've not come this far to die on the side of a mountain.
Wait. Look, Daniel. Over the edge of them rocks.
What? Oh, men they are.
There's a score or more of them. And one goes ahead of the rest.
In naught but bows and arrows. Break out a pair of the rifles, Peachy.
Right you are, Daniel.
It's now that we start to become kings.
Here. Here you are. And some cartridges, too.
Easy now, Peachy. I'll drop the straggler at the rear first. Then we'll lay a few at their feet. No arm to the one in front. We may need him. Now. Got him by the ear. Lay on, Peachy.
Hold it, Daniel. Look at them.
Flat on the bloomin' sight.
It's their leader. He's coming out alone.
Well and good. You'll go part way to meet him, Peachy. But keep your rifle by.
Look at him, Daniel. He's as fair as us, with yellow hair.
So he is. Part of the lost tribes, these people are.
Stop.
I await your command, O ye who speak with the voice of thunder.
By the Lord, Harry, Peachy, we're in luck. It's the old Afghan tongue he speaks. Speak up. Who are you and whence do you come?
I am High Priest and the chief of the village of Bashkai. A journey of only a few heartbeats.
This Bashkai, how many people?
They are numbered in the thousands.
There are more villages in the hills?
More than a man has fingers and toes.
You hear that, Peachy? Here's our kingdom, made to order. And you. You're going to take us to Bashkai. Do you understand?
I understand the voice of thunder that you speak.
Ooh, he's a smooth one, Peachy. He knows a thing or two. What's your name?
Mazur Khan Jagdalur.
Yeah, it's too long. Hey, we'll call him Peachy.
He has the look about him of an old soldiering friend of ours. Billy Fish.
So he does. We bestow a name on you. From now on, you'll be Billy Fish. And put this on your drums. Tell them 2 kings have come out of the mountaintop. 2 kings that speak in words of thunder, so the earth trembles. Tell them 2 kings have come to Kafiristan. That you, Peachy?
Daniel? Why are you sitting out here in the dark?
I've been thinking. Man has to stop and think sometimes.
About anything special, Daniel?
Look at him, Peachy. Look at that blinking campfires that gleaming in the dark. Like the jewels in the crown.
Yes, Daniel. You've done a fine job for sure. All 23 villages you joined together as one.
Yeah, it is the army you trained to be thanked for it. 2,000 men with a fair knowledge of better arms.
Some of them's a bit green at it yet.
Yeah, they're ours now. Every man, jack, woman, and child. We own them, body and soul.
Yes. We're kings now, Daniel. Not proper kings yet, but we will be.
Yeah, sooner than you think, Peachy.
How's that?
Now, Billy Fish told me something today that fair amazed me. These people know the craft.
You mean they're Freemasons? Daniel, it ain't possible.
So help me, it's gospel true. He gives the grip and everything. It's all the craft is. Older than the memory of man. And up here in the hills, they've been preserving it all these years. Why, some of the high priests know up through the fellow craft, but they don't know the 3rd degree. You see it, Peachy? They don't know the 3rd degree, but we do.
And, Daniel, what is it you're fixing to do?
Do? We're going to be proper kings. We got them going and coming now. I'm going to turn the whole country into one grand lodge, raise some of the priests to the 3rd degree. And for me, I'll be the Grand Master of Kafiristan.
You ain't got the right to. We've never been officers in no lodge.
Right. What's a king got to do with asking for a right?
I'm against it, Daniel. It's no good to go fooling around with the craft.
You talk like an old woman. The thing will work. I know it will. We'll make it a bloomin' ceremony. Regular aprons with the symbols and the marks. All for us, Peachy. The kings of Kafiristan.
Everything is prepared, Master. And the priests and the people wait.
Well, they haven't much longer, Billy. Yeah, now, Peachy, how do you like my apron?
It's a wondrous sight for fair, Daniel.
Made of white almond skin it is, and the master's mark with emerald studded.
The mark? You know the meaning of the mark?
That I do. What's got into you, Billy?
It is a thing that's passing strange, Master.
Yeah, strange and lavish. Come along now. Ready, Peachy?
Right with you, Daniel.
Then out we go, onto the temple steps. We'll give them what for. Knock the blinking eyes out, that's what we'll do. Look at them, Peachy. Right down on their blooming knees and yelling their fool heads off.
Oh, it's a good thing to be a king, Daniel.
The mark. Behold the mark.
The promised one has come.
Yeah, now. What's wrong with the priest, Billy?
It looks like trouble, Daniel. No. Stand where you are, Master. They recognize the mark.
Yeah, that great stone on the floor. Why did they turn it over?
Wait.
It's the same.
He bears the mark.
The promised
Speak up, Billy Fish. What's the meaning of it?
See for yourself. Look. Daniel. Carved on the back of the stone.
'Tis the master's mark, all right.
And the same as the sign you wear. Only a few of the priests have known of the hidden mark on the stone.
Now, what does it mean?
The many who have doubted you are a god doubt no longer.
And you, Billy, what do you think?
Aye, Master.
I think that now it is the time for these.
Ooh, Daniel! Golden crown!
Aye, how they glitter. Fit for the brow of the king.
It's what we came for.
Here now, put 'em on. We'll crown ourselves in our own right. Now listen to 'em. You know something, Peachy? We come here to be kings, and that we are, all right. But blamed if we ain't a couple of bloomin' gods to boot, with 1,000,000 people bowing on their knees.
Well enough, Peachy. So it was gods you became as well as kings. But then what happened? What became of Daniel Dravit?
Dravit? I knew Daniel Dravit once. He's a king now, Daniel is. Where's the golden crown? Carnane was with him.
Peachy, try to pull yourself together now.
Yes, I'll try.
Good. Now you became kings, you and Daniel. Kings of all Kafiristan.
He was a fine figure, Daniel was. With his red head wearing that golden crown. Kept himself aloof from the people, so to speak. When he walked out in front of the temple, they had crawled on their stomachs to worship him.
Yes, but what happened, man?
What happened? Well, I figure mostly it was winter coming up. The winds were starting up and clouds was blowing down from the north. Oh, it could blow beastly cold, that winter wind.
Who's out there? That you, Billy? Confound it anyway. Here now, what's this?
I have brought you food, Master. Stew of the wild sheep with curry and rice.
Oh, up off your knees, girl. Bring it inside.
Thank you, Master.
Place it there. Now. You're a well-favored wench.
I do not understand.
Why are you crawling on your knees?
It's a fitting way to approach the god of Kafiristan.
What's your name, girl?
Marum Abdenjab.
Marum, huh? You married?
It has not yet been my happy fortune, Master.
You afraid of me?
You are a god.
How do I seem to you? You find me pleasing or what?
Your face is more wondrous than the noonday sun. And your look, the look of eagles.
Yeah. Very well. You may leave now.
Thank you, Master.
Marum, huh? Stacey!
Oh, was you calling me, Daniel? Oh, the food's here, eh? Ah, good.
Mark that window, son. You know, winter's about due to strike and fill the passes with snow. There'll be little moving about before spring.
Yeah, you're right.
Stacey, I decided to take a wife.
But you can't do it, Daniel. We made a contract.
That was till we was kings. Well, kings we've been these many months now.
It's no good. I tell you now, I'm against it.
Against it? You was against using the cross, too, but look what it's done for us.
This is different. Billy Fish will tell you no, the same as I do.
Billy Fish? There. Who's the king here, him or me? My mind's made up. 3 days from now, I shall have me a wife. And you can put it on the drums and tell every blighter out there in the hills. The kingdom of Kafiristan is going to have a queen. What's keeping her, Peachy? They should have brought her in half an hour ago.
I don't know, Daniel.
How about you, Billy Fish? You put him up to stolen oath? Deliberate like?
Certain preparations must be made, Master.
She's across the court with some of the priests. Maybe they're trying to buck her up a bit, Daniel. She thinks she's going to die, you know.
Die indeed. Why, I know.
Master, it is against the laws of heaven for a woman to marry a god.
I'm not a god, I'm a man. You know that by now, Billy.
No, and I should not want to think so, Master. But either way, this can mean only trouble.
Yes.
I beg you to reconsider.
And I beg you to keep your mouth shut, Billy. I'm through waiting. I'm going over there to talk to the
Master, please. Oh, we've got to go with him, Billy. I think it's going to mean trouble, but come on. How many men can you depend on?
No more than 20 with rifles. Most of my men are in Bashkai.
Then what shall we do?
We shall have to make a run for it, I fear. We might be safe in Bashkai.
Now, you bundling fools. Bring out the girl. Well, now, that's better. Here, girl. This is no way for a bride to behave. Oh, smile now. And give us a kiss. Oh! The wench has bitten me.
Blood, Master. Don't let them see the blood.
Look! See the blood! It's not a god or a devil, but only a man!
Here! What is this? What?
Master, too late. Back, Daniel. They're coming with knives.
They can't do this. I am the king.
Let's run for it, Master.
Come on, Daniel. Come on.
Confounded Edens. I'll come back. I'll come back and beat the blasted edge in. That's what I'll do.
Yes, Daniel. Yeah, we'll be back, all right.
How much further, Billy?
Only a short way beyond this ridge, Master.
Well, so far, so good. At least them bloomin' drums is soft.
Well, we're at the top, Daniel.
Yeah. And a right good climb it's been.
Wait. Look. It seems the drums have come before us, Master.
Cut off. No less than 1,000 of them. Standing there quiet like. With them wicked long knives in their hands.
There'll be no getting past them, Daniel.
No. We're done for. Go back, Billy Fish. Take your men away with you. Go with him, Peachy. It's me they want. I did it. Me, the king.
No, Dan. I'm sticking with you. Billy Fish, you clear out.
I am your friend. I stay with you.
You're a good man, Billy.
They're coming now, Daniel.
Peachy.
Forget it, Daniel. I'll forgive you. Freely, fully.
Then let them come. There be one thing they can't change, Peachy. We've been kings. Kings in our own right. Kings! And all shall bear us down.
Yes. It sliced open poor Billy's Fish like a blooming herring, it did. There in the snow and the rocks.
Oh, good Lord, man. But you, Peachy, you got away from them.
Got away from him, did I? Oh, no. They stung me out on a tree. It drove nails right through my hands, didn't it? See? Look, see? But I fooled him all right. Because the morning come and I wasn't dead. And then I made him think I'd lost my senses. And they was afraid to harm me because I was protected by Allah. Cut me down then. And after a while, they let me go.
You poor devil. And what happened to Daniel?
Daniel? Daniel's a king. He wears a golden crown.
No, now, what happened to him?
He's never left me. All them long months. walking on the road back, he kept me safe. The mountains, they danced at night, but Daniel held up his hand. And Peachy came along, bent double. I never let go of Daniel's hand. He's with me now. Here, in this bundle. You knew old Daniel, sir, even if it was a monarch once. Look at him now. Well, now you've seen that we was really kings, I'll be on my way. You'll pardon me, sir?
I let him go. There was little else to do. He was only hours away from his death. I sat there and stared at the bundle he had left lying on my desk. Stared as the pale shafts of dawn struck fire in the red beard. Stared at the golden crown sitting too large and heavy upon the wrinkled, mummified head of Daniel Drabbett, the man who would be king.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Tonight we have brought you The Man Who Would Be King by Rudyard Kipling, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Featured in tonight's cast were Ben Wright and Wilms Herbert, with John Daner, Peggy Weber, and Jack Crucian. Special music by Ivan Ditmars. Next week,
you are trapped in the dark streets of a French town with only 2 remaining avenues of escape. The workshop of a fearsome knife maker or the arms of a dangerous woman. While behind you, hunting you through the dark night, swirls a mob of men, eager for your capture.
Next week, we escape with Vincent Starrett's strange story, The Fugitive. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Fed up with the everyday grind? Tired out from the summer heat? You want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the 4 walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are trapped in the dark streets of an old French town with 2 remaining avenues of escape. The workshop of a fearsome knife maker or the arms of a beautiful but deadly woman.
Tonight, we escape to the south of France and to the manhunt of a master criminal, as Vincent Starrett told it in his unusual story, The Fugitive.
I had been 6 months in the prison of Tarentelle at the top of the hill above the little village of Saint-Just. As you know, of course, Saint-Just is in the very south of France, buried in those dark forests that lead up to the great crags of the Pyrenees. I was enjoying this enforced hospitality after having been convicted as a thief, and quite rightly so, Oh, it is the fancy of some men to become bankers, of others soldiers. It had always suited my own fancy to be a thief. But no matter. Day after day went by, with nothing to do but to look out over the forests, watch the sunsets and the lights in the Chateau de Montaut, and 6 months began to seem like a lifetime. So, in my customary logical fashion, I decided to escape.
Monsieur Duplessis.
You were addressing me, Monsieur Lemieux?
Mon Dieu, who else? Do you think I expect to find you entertaining visitors behind this iron door?
Who knows what a detective may think? I have never found enough mentality in one to be able to analyze it.
You still have spirit, Duplessis. What a pity for it to be wasted in a prison cell.
Well, I confess I would much rather be outside there with you than inside here or with me.
And I can almost wish that you were. Perhaps then I would not be so bored.
Oh, my deepest sympathy, Lemieux. Have the wine cellars at the chateau gone dry? Does the seigneur no longer serve those luscious meals you have told me so much about?
I have grown weary of it, my friend. I am a hunter of men by nature, not a bon vivant. Sometimes I wish you might contrive some means of escaping. I should enjoy the sport of tracking you down again.
In that case, monsieur, the key.
Oh, I dare say it would be rather easy the second time. I know just how your mind turns all your little fancies.
Well, the key, monsieur.
And, too, I'm a master of disguises. Should you pause by a stream, the fisherman who handed you a drink would suddenly turn out to be Lemieux.
You astonish me.
You would perhaps register at an inn. Then the clerk would smile at you, and you would see...
Permit me, Lemieux.
Well. Why dream of the impossible, Duplessis? You have another 4.5 years to serve in Tarantelle, and I am dining at the Chateau de Montaut in an hour. So...
Lemieux, why not imagine I am contriving some way to escape? That should give you an appetite.
Duplessis, your waiter has deserted you. You speak of absurdities now.
Perhaps you are right. Au revoir, monsieur. But he was cunning, this Lemieux. Sleek and pretty, like a weasel. But have you ever seen the teeth of a weasel slash the throat of a bird? I have. And I have seen Lemieux do somewhat similar things. Well, no matter. Half an hour after he had gone, when dusk was falling, I lifted 2 iron bars from the window of my cell, slid through and climbed down the wall. But it was not so simple as it sounds, you know. I had been working on it for nearly 2 months, secretly and quietly. And now I was free. I slunk furtively and fearfully through the underbrush, making my way rapidly toward the village of Saint-Just at the foot of the hill. Behind me, at any moment, the great gun would boom from the walls of Tarentelle, informing the world that one of the prisoners had made an escape. Ahead of me, faint flares of lightning warned of a storm to come, while my heart beat a pace with my footsteps. I thought to myself, how terrible indeed is this business of freedom. How much simpler it is to be in prison. Well, as you may have perceived already, I am something of a philosopher. Well, no matter. It was then that I suddenly saw a light gleaming ahead of me, and I began to hear a strange sound. I could make out the shape of a small, open hut a few paces ahead of me. The light was thrown out by the glowing coals in a forge, and the sound was made by an old man beating out a piece of metal on an anvil. He was small, wrinkled, and bald except for 2 white tufts of hair that grew in front of his ears. As I drew near, quietly, I could see that he was making a knife, and that other knives hung on the walls of the hut, and I had no weapon. And I began to wonder if, by some means, I might steal one from him.
Come in, my son.
Huh?
It may start raining any moment.
Well, merci, monsieur. I'm a stranger hereabouts. I lost my way in the wood.
No need. I understand.
You are a maker of knives?
Oui, monsieur. You would like to have one, perhaps.
Well, old man, the fact of the matter is that being a law-abiding citizen, I really have little need of a knife. However, they are pretty, and the forest is very dark. But I am at the moment without funds, so...
There is no charge, my son. Here, look at this one.
Ah, it is a beautiful knife.
Try the edge. It is quite sharp.
Mon Dieu, you are right. This weapon would suit a king himself, or a prince of thieves.
You are a philosopher, my son.
Or a thief. But what? There are words engraved on the blade. On one side, reason, and on the other, irony. Reason and irony. You're something of a philosopher yourself, old maker of knives.
I use different words on different blades, but the quality is always the same.
It fits well in my hand.
Then take it. It is yours.
With such a blade, a man could fight his way through hell itself. I should like to see the look on the face of Monsieur... wait. You are not by any chance Lemieux.
Aha! The great gun in the wall of Tarentelle. Some prisoner has escaped. No, my son. I am not Lemieux. Why do you ask?
I thought for a moment, but no. No, of course not. Well, I must be off, old knife maker. I have a long way to go, and it is starting to rain. My deepest gratitude for your generosity.
Oh, we shall meet again, my son. Tell me then, after you have tried the blade.
Of course. Adieu, monsieur.
Au revoir. De plaisir.
I was not afraid anymore. The rain smashed and splattered in the trees, and the dark shadows became old friends. I ran through the night, laughing, and sometimes singing, slashing with my knife at the leaves on the branches. Reason and irony, slash. I forgot the prison behind me, forgot everything except my goal. A tiny cottage standing at the very outskirts of Saint-Just. Marie Simard would be waiting there where I had left her. Soft, warm, beautiful Marie, of whom I had dreamed every night in that cursed cell. We would go into the village together, then to the inn of Paul Gaspard, and with the bag of jewels I had left with him, escape to the Spanish frontier, to freedom. Marie!
Who is it?
It is I, Mathilde Duplessis. Open the door, quickly, please.
But you... Hi.
Inside first. That is better. The shutters? All closed. Good. Come now, tell me how glad you are to see me.
Oh, I am glad, but surprised. How are you here? They have not released you?
Not intentionally, my dear. I reviewed my own case and decided, Duplessis, you are really a very fine fellow and by no means belong here. So I released myself.
You have escaped then?
Not completely, or at any rate not yet. What? Oh, what a lovely scent you are wearing, Marie mon âme. And that dress, a new one, is it not?
Oui, mon cœur. It was given to me by the old woman who lives in the next cottage down the way.
Well, I must leave a small diamond for her after we have seen Paul.
Paul Gaspard, you are going to see him?
But of course, ma jolie, we shall need money to live in Spain.
I see. Duplessis, mon cœur, you are very wet. You must be tired. Rest here in this chair while I run down to the old woman's and bring wine and little cake.
No, Marie, there is not time.
It will only take a moment. We can go to Paul's afterwards. Surely you know you are safe here with me.
Safe while Lemieux is out there someplace.
Lemieux?
The others, the soldiers and the guards, they are fools, but not Lemieux. He is cunning. I am beginning to fancy that I see him behind every face I meet.
But surely you do not think...
Oh, ma chérie, of one thing I am certain, that you are not Lemieux. Oh, come, I must touch you. It has been such a long time.
You're so wet. Perhaps I should go borrow a dry coat for you.
No. The rain has stopped. I shall be dry by the time we reach... The little ring I gave you. The one with the heart. You are not wearing it.
I put it away. I did not wish to wear it until you were with me again.
Which I am from this moment on, ma petite. So...
No, Duplessis, this is no time to waste. We must leave now and hurry. We'll go to Paul Gaspard's this moment, now.
But a few paces brought us into the streets of the village of Saint-Just. We moved quickly, and I kept the collar of my coat turned high on my face. Soon we were making our way among the handful of patrons who still lingered at the tables of the inn, talking in the light of candles held in empty bottles. I kept my hand on the knife beneath my coat, but no one glanced up as we crossed to the far side of the room.
There he is, at the little table in front of the office.
Oui, ma jolie, so he is, and not changed a bit.
Paul?
Marie, what a surprise. I had no idea that you might... Duplessis.
Bonne nuit, mon ami.
Duplessis, what in the
There
name...
is no time, Paul. Take him in the office.
But of course.
I have things which must be done. I shall be back very shortly, Paul.
Oui, I understand. Come, Duplessis.
Hurry, Marie.
I shall hurry, mon coeur, never fear.
There it is, locked. Well, mon ami, this is quite a surprise. I take it you are on an unofficial leave of absence.
Completely so, Paul. I have a pass which is good only so long as Lemieux does not catch up with me.
Lemieux? Oh, he is a clever one, all right.
Indeed he is. Almost as clever as Duplessis. But no matter. You have kept the little bag of jewels safe for me?
Quite safe.
Très bien. They will serve me well in Spain. I hope to be across the frontier in an hour.
So soon, but we have so many things to talk about.
Oh, there's little chance for talk, Paul, when a man is running for his life. The jewels are here, close at hand?
Nearby.
Well, get them now, Paul.
Well, the fact of the matter is, they are at my house on the other side of town. It will take only a moment, and I can send someone to...
Wait. Voices outside the door.
Well, I hear nothing at all. You are only imagining that...
You signaled someone before we came in here.
No, mon ami. No, you're mistaken.
I saw you not to a man out there at one of the tables.
No, you must believe me. I did nothing.
Stay away from the door. I called you, my friend.
The crowd will break down that door in a moment. You had better give up. You are a fool, Duplessis. In an hour from now, you will be back in Tarentelle where you belong.
I doubt it this far. They have not yet found the back door, but either way you will not know about it.
Tonight. Duplessis.
Away from that door.
No, you cannot. Murderous beast. I will stop you.
Oh, Dieu. A gold piece is thrown at my head. Now, where is the sport in killing a man whose only weapon is a bag of money? I am a philosopher. Bonne nuit, monsieur le gold piece. I ran down the dark streets from the back of the inn, turned corners, dodged away from the shadows. Far off, like the sound of hunting dogs, I could hear the voice of the mob. I knew not where to find Marie, nor of any man now who might be trusted. I ran blindly. One direction was as good as another, and the things of reality became clouded with those of imagination, so I could no longer tell them apart. Such is the great fear of the hunted, which knows only to run from one unknown to another unknown, but always to run and run and run. I had come to an unfamiliar part of the town, into an open square with a building facing me. People moved past slowly, but they paid no attention, and I knew they were not part of the mob which followed. Then I saw that all of them were going through the door into the great building. The cathedral. Oh, voila, what a place to hide for a moment. I joined them and was carried along in the crowd. I found myself near the front with people all around me. I kept my head down and crouched there, trying to stop trembling.
You are out of breath, my friend. You seem frightened.
Silence. Do you wish to disturb the service?
Never fear. It will continue regardless. Duplessis.
One moment, monsieur, and I shall cut your throat.
Come now, put away the knife. I am your friend. I have always admired you.
Who are you?
Merle. I keep a little shop in the village. Perfumes, spices, flavorings, all things calculated to make life more agreeable.
You are Lemieux in disguise.
Oh, ridiculous, monsieur. Lemieux is at the Chateau de Montaut. I passed him on his way there. He thinks the mob will do his work for him. Put away the knife. You have nothing to fear from me.
That may be, but I feel much better while I hold it in my hand.
Cautious, Duplessis? Hardly like the great adventurer I always admired.
Adventurer, eh?
Oh, the very prince of thieves, the king of poets, and teacher of philosophers.
Well, I am quite a fellow, all right?
Indeed you are. A man who should be standing up, not hiding his face, swaggering and laughing.
Merle, mon ami, you are really a fellow of discernment. Indeed you are.
Monsieur, is that knife you're holding in your hand?
Oui, mon père.
Knives are not permitted in here.
But it is a very good knife. It has words written on the blade.
No matter. Knives are not permitted, monsieur.
Look!
It is Duplessis. See?
They have seen you now, my friend. You must run. But never fear. We shall meet again, I think, very soon. I escaped from them again and found myself finally on the outskirts of the far side of town. I knew not where to go next. I looked up and my eyes fell upon the lighted windows of the Chateau de Montaut, standing alone above the countryside at the very top of a point of rock. A sudden thought occurred to me. Brazen and audacious. What better sanctuary than the very chateau where Lemieux himself waited for word of my capture? I smiled to myself in the darkness and then began to climb swiftly up the face of the rock. I stood at last on a tiny parapet close against the massive stone walls of the chateau, high above the countryside. Behind me were lighted windows and the sound of voices, but out there on the parapet there was only the night and the stillness, stars, and a ghostly moon riding like a silver galleon in the black billows of the sky. Its pale light fell on the tumbled forest below me, on the tiny little village of Saint-Just, and touched faintly in the distance the far-off crags of the Pyrenees beyond the Spanish frontier. I do not know how long I stood there, looking down upon the world. Perhaps I was a little mad by then, of that I'm not quite sure. Suddenly I saw someone coming toward me on the parapet. They had not yet seen me. Bonne nuit, mademoiselle.
What? Who is it?
It is I, Marie Duplessis.
Huh? What are you doing here?
A very good question. As a matter of fact, I think I shall use it myself. What are you doing here?
I came here to find Lemieux after I lost you, of course.
And you found him, I trust?
Oh, we were caged inside in the banquet hall with the others. I thought that if he should find you, then I would be there to help.
How thoughtful of you, ma jolie. But to help whom?
But you, of course. Oh, how can you doubt me?
Oh, very easily. This night, in fact, I believe I could doubt the universe itself.
Oh, no, chérie. You only say such things when you are fancying yourself a philosopher.
Or a fool, which is much the same thing. But here, look at you. Another new dress. The old woman is very good to you, Marie.
I am quite grateful to her.
And did she also give you the ring, my dear?
The ring?
Oui, the ring you are wearing. The ring which I saw so many times on a hand that would grasp the bars of my cell, the hand of Lemieux.
Madame de Plessis, I swear to you it is nothing. I found it.
Found it? Perhaps in the same place where you lost mine.
No, put away the knife. It is all a mistake.
It was you who brought them up to the inn, and Paul knew you had gone to do it.
No, it was someone else. Please, do not kill me. Let me go.
Go where? Back inside to warn Lemieux that I am here?
No, I shall go down the path here, see? Oh, you cannot kill me. You loved me once, do you not remember? Please, let me go.
Go then. Go quickly before I change my mind.
I am going. I will not harm you.
To detest a woman thoroughly, it is necessary first to have loved her. Well, I really am quite a fellow after all, a true philosopher.
Indeed you are, mon ami.
Huh?
It is one of the things for which I have always admired you.
Oh, it is you, Monsieur Merle, the seller of perfumes.
Oh, must you always carry that vicious knife in your hand?
It is a good knife. An old man gave it to me, and there are words on the blade. See, on one side, reason. On the other, irony.
Well, we shall have little need for either once we are across the frontier in Spain.
Tell me, monsieur, why do you wish to help me?
Because I like you. Because you are Duplessis, whom I admire as something great. As great as that moon that shines over us. As great as... What is it?
Something glinted on your hand when you held it up there. Let me see it.
Oh, it was nothing. It was only a trick of the moonlight.
Let me see your hand.
But I tell you that...
You too. The little ring with a heart that I gave to her a long time ago.
Oh, it is nothing, my friend. I found her.
As she found Lemieux's. They have gone too long without knowing for certain if this is really a good knife.
Oh, you cannot mean that. Oh, no. I'm your friend, Duplessis. I'm going to take you to...
Take me where, monsieur? Now we shall see whether you can fly without wings. There. Down and down and down. By heaven, it is like a scene from a play. This parapet is stage, the moon for a spotlight, and a body pirouetting through space.
True enough, my son. But you should not have killed him.
Huh?
The weapon was made for stronger opponents.
Well, old maker of knives, you said we should probably meet again.
He is gone out of sight. And there are only the stars and the night and the moon. What now, Duplessis?
I do not know. Spain, perhaps?
Lemieux would follow. And there would be another Marie, another Paul, and another Mel, waiting in Spain to tell him where you were.
Have I escaped from prison to find this? Is everything false? Is there no man left in the world who is true?
I am only a knife maker.
Well, it is a good knife. It worked very well.
You have not yet tried it against Lemieux?
No, you are right. He's inside there in the banquet hall.
It will not be an easy thing, my son, but I know not how to warn you. You must find it out for yourself.
Warning? When has Duplessis ever had need of warning? Merci, Monsieur le Knife Maker, for your excellent intentions. And I shall find out for myself. Now. The stone corridors of the chateau were empty. Though as I drew nearer, I could hear the sound of voices in the great banquet hall. I made my way quietly to a low balcony overlooking the room, and soon was peering through the drawn curtains that screened off the table below. Lemieux was there, and Paul, and the seigneur of the chateau. Marie had come back somehow, and there were others too. Lemieux was talking.
Town are beating the bushes of the forest. Duplessis will be captured sooner or later, that I can assure you. I know the fellow. Know how his mind works. That's why I do not even bother to chase him. He will trap himself.
Most certainly you are right, Monsieur Lemieux. And the sooner the better. More wine, ma chérie?
Merci, cher Paul.
I dare say you will rest a bit easier, Monsieur le Seigneur, once the fellow is taken.
Why do you say that?
Look at those paintings on the walls, ma petite. There on the balcony behind the curtain is a Rembrandt worth at least 1 million francs. Quite a temptation for the very Prince of Thieves if he did not have something more important on his mind.
I thought for one moment they were going to draw back the curtains to reveal me standing there above them. But then they talked of other things and the danger passed. I looked down upon them, crouched like weasels around the table, tearing at their food with sharp little teeth. Half mad from the fear of being hunted, I began to fancy that they were all animals, and their wine was the blood of birds. While I stood there watching, Merle came in quietly and sat down with him. Merle, whom I had killed and thrown from the parapet. I realized then what the old maker of knives had tried to tell me. I had not killed Merle, but only thought I had done so. For how can a man kill his own vanity? And Paul would always be here, of course, ready to buy and sell with his bags of gold. And Marie, too, luring me with a voice filled with a warm softness of pleasure. And Lemieux, incarnation of fate, the hunter of men, what of Lemieux? As I stared through the curtains, I knew suddenly that I could never kill Lemieux, that he would take me sooner or later. For in my half-crazed mind, every face now looked the same. And every one was the face of Lemieux. I turned to look at the tall painting, the Rembrandt that hung on the wall behind me. It was the portrait of a cavalier, proud and haughty, frozen in a pose of nobility, with one hand resting on his sword. Should I, an even better man, a prince of thieves and of philosophers, permit myself to be run to earth at last by a pack of dogs? Would it not be far better to give myself up at my own choice, show them at the same time their littleness, and rob them of their victory? Voila, I have decided. With the point of my knife, I cut the painting from its frame and threw it to one side. I looked at my blade, so useless now. On one side, reason. On the other, irony. And then drove it into the wood at the top of the frame. It quivered there a moment, and then was still. Carefully, I lighted the 2 tall candles on either side, then stepped up and stood in the frame with my back against the wall. I smiled a moment to myself, and then reached out my hand and took hold of the cord to draw aside the curtains.
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Tonight we have brought you The Fugitive by Vincent Starrett, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Featured in tonight's cast was Louis Van Rooten, with Ben Wright, Gloria Blondell, Barry Kroger, Wilms Herbert, and John Boehner. Special music by Ivan Ditmars. Next week,
you are trapped aboard an ill-fated ocean liner, captained by a dying man, while a mysterious passenger, haunting you, menacing you, seems intent on sending you to destruction.
Next week, we escape with James Gould Cousins' gripping story, SS San Pedro. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Ladies and gentlemen, this coming Tuesday evening at 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, CBS will bring you an hour-long variety show, Crusade for Children, with General Dwight D. Eisenhower as principal speaker. It's a problem concerning every American, the hungry children of Europe. Remember, 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time, Tuesday, August 17th. Roy Rowan speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting.
Fed up with the everyday grind. Tired out from the summer heat. Want to get away from it all.
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are trapped aboard an ill-fated ocean liner, captained by a dying man, while a mysterious stranger, haunting you, menacing you, seems intent on sending you to destruction.
Tonight, we escape to mid-ocean and to the strange passengers aboard a stranger ship, as James Gould Cousins tells it in his gripping story, SS San Pedro.
It was hot. The heat rolled up from the Hoboken waterfront and drifted in waves across the open bridge deck where I stood. The last few loads of passengers' luggage were being hoisted aboard. In 30 minutes, the whistle on the forward stack would sound off, And the cargo liner San Pedro, carrying 172 passengers and 200 in the crew, would nose away from the pier and start the long run south to Buenos Aires. Then she'd become the great living animal she was meant to be. No longer something built with paint and steel and tied to a pier. You get to feel that way after you've been a while at sea. You feel that your ship is a live thing and that you're part of it. The captain is the biggest part, of course, the brain of the ship, the mentality that keeps her from turning idiot and dashing herself to pieces in her madness. The officers are the nerve centers, and the crew, the hands and fingers. And the twin turbines far down in the hold are the great driving muscles of the legs. Silly, maybe, but you can feel it. And the passengers, well, to most of us officers, the passengers are the parasites of the ship.
My, but you look confident.
Huh?
I said I'm glad you look confident. But you don't have to look so serious.
I'm sorry, miss. The passengers are not allowed on the bridge.
I know that. I've been on ships before. And I've never been thrown off a bridge yet.
Well, I have no intention of throwing you off, but I must ask
My
you...
name is Mara Lee.
How do you do?
Are you the captain?
No, I'm Bradell, the first officer.
Oh, the captain's right-hand man.
You might put it that way. Now, if you'll please...
Mara Lee is my first name.
Yes, I assumed as much.
Oh, well, I'll just call you Bradell, then. Maybe you'll loosen up when we get farther south.
I doubt it.
At least you'll have to dance with me in the evenings. It's part of your duty.
Well, I'll be happy to, in the line of duty.
A regular machine, aren't you? I think this is going to be fun.
Well, in the meantime, please be kind enough
Bradell.
to... Yes, Mr. Driscoll, what is it?
Captain's compliments, sir. I'd like to see you in his cabin right away.
Good. Take charge of the bridge, Mr. Driscoll.
Right, sir.
Most of the luggage is already aboard. Packy's on the winch. She's pretty drunk, but Myro seems to be able to handle him.
All right, Mr. Bradell. I'll watch him.
And please make sure the young lady finds her way back to the passenger deck.
Don't worry, Bradell. I know how to get any place I won't get.
You know, deck officers get all the breaks. Who's your little friend, Bradell?
Passenger, a cockeyed nuisance. You can have her, Sparks.
Good. Maybe I can teach her the code.
I doubt it.
Hey, wait till you get a load of the captain's visitors. Brace yourself, boy.
Time.
I understand you sent for me, Captain?
Oh, Mr. Bradell. Yes, I did, my boy. Everything in order on deck?
Yes, sir. We'll sail in about 20 minutes.
Good, Mr. Bradell. Oh, I'd like to present a friend of mine, Dr. Percival.
How do you do, Mr. Bradell? I don't wonder at your surprise. My appearance is somewhat strange.
I'm, sorry, sir.
No. I'm quite used to such a reaction. I am well aware that I closely resemble a corpse.
Mr. Bradell, I wonder if you'd mind showing Dr. Percival around the ship.
Well, Captain Clendenning, we sail in 20 minutes.
A very brief tour will show me all I wish to see, Mr. Bradell.
Well, maybe after we get underway, I could show
No, Dr. Percival isn't sailing with us, Mr. Bradell. It shouldn't take more than a few minutes. I'd show him around myself, but I'm not feeling too well. A man wears out, I guess. Starts to break down. Like a machine.
Like a machine. That's what she said.
What's that, Mr. Bradell?
Nothing, sir. Well, shall we get started, Dr. Percival? I showed him through the empty dining salon, along the boat deck and the promenade. We opened the bulkhead door and looked down through the gratings into the engine room. And everywhere we walked, people drew back and stared silently until we passed, and then whispered together behind us. We met Marilee, and she started to speak, and then her face turned white, and she passed us without a word. Dr. Percival paid no attention to any of them. His gaunt gray face never changed expression.
and those dark, hollow eyes stared straight ahead. His twisted hands were covered by gloves made of soft gray leather, and he reached out with them from time to time and touched things as we passed, almost caressing them. It was almost repulsive for some reason. Finally, we wound up at the port rail of the officer's deck, and I showed him how to reach the gangplank.
I presume these are the officers' quarters along here, Mr. Bradell?
Yes, that's right. The port cabin's here, and the same thing over on the starboard. There are a few spares we use for sick bays when we have to.
I see. Nearly 400 people on board. Quite a responsibility, especially for the captain.
Yes, he has his hands full, all right.
And if something should happen to him?
Oh, well, I'm next in charge, only nothing will happen.
What causes that sound?
Right, Myro. Oh, they're the ship's engines. We'll be hearing them for the next 10 days.
Mr. Bradell, have you noticed that your ship is not floating level?
Huh?
This side of the deck, the port side, I think you said, is a good deal lower than the other.
Yeah. Yes, we do have a slight list of port. I hadn't noticed it. Well, it's nothing serious. We'll correct it with the ballast tanks as soon as we're underway. Now, sir, if you
Mr.
please...
Bradell, the captain is an old man. He's in bad shape.
Well, not according to the ship's doctor.
I am his doctor now.
Well, I don't believe I care to discuss it, sir.
Nor I. I only mention it. Thank you, Mr. Bradell, for showing me what I wish to see. I'll be going now.
Fine. Glad to have had you aboard. Now, straight down that ladder now. Across the deck. By dinner that evening, we were 140 miles at sea. The sun dropped behind a red haze and brought out a clear, starry night sky. Marilee had somehow wangled a place at my table, but held herself down to an occasional knowing grin that the other passengers probably misinterpreted. Well, I dodged her afterwards, checked over the cargo plan for a while, trying to find some reason for the strange port list that was getting a little more pronounced. And finally dropped into the wireless shack.
Oh, hi, Bradell. Get bored with social life?
Yeah. It's not the heat, it's the femininity.
You should squawk. The only time I see a girl on board this tub is when they come in to wire for money at the next port.
Well, I know one you can have.
And that's just the one I'd take, too. You're crazy, Bradell.
Maybe. You picked up anything?
No. I've been talking to the Toledo. She's about 100 miles ahead of us, making 17 knots. So we'll probably tail her all the way south.
Yeah.
Well, she started hitting some bad weather about an hour ago. Guess we'll be getting it, too. Probably make all your lady friends seasick.
Good. See if you can hurry it up. There's the captain in the chart room.
Yeah. Called from here 10 minutes ago. Hey, how'd you like that character that came aboard to see him?
Oh, Dr. Percival?
Uh-huh.
You can have him, too. Well, see you later.
Right. I'll let you know if I get any more in the storm.
Right. So long.
Oh, Mr. Bradell.
Huh? Oh, for...
Wait a minute, I wanted to... No, wait!
Good evening, Captain.
Oh, Mr. Bradell. I've been writing up the night orders. Who has the first watch? Driscoll?
Yes, sir. Then Eberly.
Good. By the way, Mr. Bradell, I appreciate your showing Dr. Percival around this afternoon.
Oh, I'm glad to do it, Captain. Say, is he an old friend of yours?
No. I met him quite recently. Mr. Bradell, what's this port list? It's getting worse. Shows 8 degrees on the clinometer now.
Well, I've had one pump on the ballast tank since 3 o'clock.
You better put on another one. It worries me. Bad weather up ahead, you know.
Yes, I just talked to Morris.
Wonder if we're making any water.
I don't think so. I'll check with the engine room if you like.
Yes, I wish you would. You can't afford to take any chances.
Bradell here, McGilvery. Captain wants your bilge soundings. Call him back. Right. Chart room.
I'm tired tonight, Mr. Riddell. Don't feel so well. Guess a man's bound to get old sometime.
Oh, well, that's still some years ahead of you, sir.
I doubt it. Doubt it very much. Well, can't do much about it. Oh, I meant to tell you. The steward reported this afternoon that he couldn't get into number 7 port cabin on the officer's deck.
He couldn't get into it?
The door seems to be stuck. Don't know what's wrong. We should look into it.
Oh, all right, sir. I'll have Morrow look into it. I think he's up on... that must be the engine room. Riddell. Right. Right. All right, thanks. And McGilvery says all the bilges are dry, sir.
Good. Well, I guess there's no reason why they shouldn't be at that. A man gets old.
Well, I'll go to speak to Myro, Captain, and see about putting another pump on the ballast tanks.
Good. I'm going to turn in a few minutes. Good night, Mr. Riddell.
Good night, Captain.
Well, I knew you'd have to come out sometime.
Now, look, miss.
Relax, Riddell. You have a terribly romantic profile. We're getting closer to the tropics all the time.
I've been there before.
Yes, I'll bet you have.
Now, listen. If you want to
why
go...
don't you be human for once? You keep on and you'll end up looking like your ghoulish friend you were showing around this afternoon.
He was no friend of mine.
There should be a rule against taking passengers who look like that. It gives me the creeps.
Well, for your information, we didn't take him. He went ashore.
Oh, you'd be a good liar, Bradell, if I hadn't seen him myself a half an hour ago.
Huh? Where?
He went into one of those cabins right down there ahead of us.
On the officer's deck?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't notice which one?
Yes, I did, as a matter of fact. It was number 7.
7, huh? All right, come on.
Now, look, Bradell, I don't want to meet the guy. I don't want to have anything to do with him. Gave me the shivers just to look at him.
Did it? Is this the one?
Number 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You notice the little crossbar on the door handle?
Yes.
And it's turned straight up and down?
Yes.
That means the door's unlocked, huh? All right.
But it doesn't open.
That's right, because it's jammed. The steward reported it this afternoon, not a half hour ago, so you're not much of a liar yourself.
But I saw him go in this door.
Oh, sure
I tell you,
did.
I did. I saw him.
Anything wrong, Mr. Riddell?
Oh, Myro, no, nothing's wrong. This door is apparently jammed. We should try to get it open when you have a chance.
All right, sir.
And, Myro, when you do, please advise this young lady. She's very curious about what's inside the cabin. Good night.
Mr. Riddell, wake up.
Myro, what's the matter?
Mr. Driscoll wants you on the bridge, sir. We got some pretty bad weather.
Yeah, I can feel it. How long's it been this way?
Since midnight, but it's getting worse, sir. Steward says some glass broke on the promenade deck. We've shipped water in the forward hold.
All right, Myro. Tell Driscoll I'll be on the bridge in 5 minutes. Get going. It was fairly bad on deck. Dawn was just breaking, with light enough to make out the long, high swells charging into us one after another, the tops of their crests ripped and torn by the driving wind. We were taking them on the quarter, rolling pretty badly and shipping water on the port bow at every roll. And if anything, that list had grown worse during the night.
Glad you're here, Mr. Bradell. Having a rather bad go of it.
Yeah, well, we've seen worse. Has the captain been called?
No, sir. I thought I'd better wait for you.
Right. No need to call him. Where's Eberly?
Took some men down to the forward hold. We're shipping water on the port side every time.
Yeah, I know. Myro, see if you can get him on the phone. Good Lord. Well, we're listing 11 degrees now. Those pumps still going in the ballast tanks?
All night, sir. The tanks are 2/3 empty now. I can't understand it.
I think the phone is dead in the forward hold, Mr. Burdell. I can get no signal.
All right, Myro. You go on down there and see what the trouble is. Report back.
Yes, sir.
11 degrees. Can't see any reason why...
Oh, I'll take it, sir. Briscoe here. Yes, I know. I know. All right, I'll speak to him. McGilvery says they're taking quite a beating in the engine room. Wants to know if we can't slack off this roll.
Yeah, I think we better. No use beating ourselves to death against those swells.
Glendenning here.
Riddell, Captain. Sorry to bother you.
It's all right, boy. What is it?
Permission to change course, sir. We're taking a bad swell on our quarter.
Granted. Whatever you think best.
Thank you, sir.
Need me for anything?
No, sir. I'll report later. All right, Mr. Driscoll, new course.
Yes, sir.
Ease off 14 degrees and then hold due south.
Ease off 14 degrees, hold due south.
Aye, sir.
I'm going to the wireless room.
All right, sir.
We ought to be out of this by afternoon.
It's windy, isn't it?
Marilee, what the devil are you doing on deck?
Getting rained on mostly.
Haven't you got any sense? We're shipping water on the foredeck. You want to get washed over?
Would you care, Burdell?
Look, it costs money to stop a ship. Now, listen. Get below.
I'm still waiting to see inside number 7 cabin.
Well, Burdell. They're kind of shaking us well before using, aren't they?
Yeah, just change the course. Should ease this roll a little. Morris, what's the nearest ship to us?
Still the Toledo, about 70 miles south. They say it's raining down there. Can you imagine?
There's nothing any closer, huh?
Well, nothing that I've been able... Hey, you don't figure we're...
No. There's no danger, Morris. Just routine.
Well, I'll see what I can pick up. Static's not making it... Oh. Morris. Yeah, he's here. It's for you.
Thanks. Bedell speaking.
Driscoll, sir.
Yeah?
McGilvery just called. Wants permission to put all pumps to work on the bilge.
On the bilge? What for?
Says we're making water from somewhere. He's got 40 inches in the stoke hole.
It's probably coming from that forward hole. As soon as Everly gets the bulkhead closed, we'll be able to... Wait a second. Hold on. Myro just came in. What'd you find out?
Well, Mr. Everly needs more men, sir. Some of those big crates shifted. They knocked out most of the forward bulkhead.
Knocked out? Mr. Driscoll.
Yes, sir.
Call the captain and ask him to meet me on the bridge immediately. Next hours were a nightmare. All through the day, into the evening. Terrified passengers huddled in the lounges in the salon, not knowing just how great the danger might be and fearing the worst. At 11 a.m., one of the pumps broke down, and the San Pedro settled a little lower as the water gained in the bilges. At 1:30, pump back in operation, and for a while we held our own. Down in the forward hold, men fought a heartbreaking battle in water up to their armpits and tried to throw up a temporary bulkhead. At 5:15, a heavy sea crashed through the steward's pantry, and 6 men vanished overboard in a smother of foam. All night long we fought the sea and lost the battle foot by foot. The strange list to port grew worse. By dawn we were leaning over 18 degrees and shipping tons of water with every roll.
Driscoll here. Right. All right, hold on. Mr. Burdell.
What is it, Driscoll?
McGilvery on the phone, sir. Says he's had to pull the fire in one boiler. He's going to in the second one. Wants to know if you'll reduce speed to steerage way. Otherwise, he hasn't got steam enough for the pumps.
All right. Tell him yes.
McGilvery, Burdell says okay. Take it now. 1/3 speed. All right, Helm. Speed to 1/3.
Aye, sir.
Confound it, sir. Captain ought to be here on the bridge. Been in his cabin for the last 4 hours. He's got no business to stay.
That'll do, Mr. Driscoll.
Oh. Yes, sorry, sir.
Forget it. You're right at that. We haven't got much time to make up our minds. Well, how are the passengers, Myro?
Fair morale, sir. The stewards are trying to keep them calm. They're all in life preservers.
Yeah, the way we're heeled over, we can't use the starboard boats now. And in another hour, there won't be enough steam for the winches on the port side. Well... Hello. Hello. Oh, what the devil. Now the captain's phone's dead, too. Myro.
Yes, Miss Riddell?
Go down to the captain's cabin. Ask him to come up.
Yes, sir.
We can't chance it any longer, Driscoll. At least we can start a call out while the captain's on his way here.
Right.
Morris here.
Riddell on the bridge. You still sending CQ?
Yes, sir. Repeats in 5 minutes.
You picked up anything?
The Toledo. There's a canard liner 100 miles north.
Yeah, that's not much help.
How bad off are we, sir?
Bad enough you can start sending an SOS now. Give me position on anything you pick up and stand by for further orders.
Right, sir.
This is it, then.
Well, what else, Mr. Driscoll? It may be too late as it is.
Mr. Riddell.
Yes, Myro?
The captain, sir. He's in his bunk, dead.
Good Lord. Well, he was right then. Men get old. Machines wear out.
I think he's been dead for some time, Mr. Riddell.
Probably so. Myro, did you ever get that port cabin door open?
Didn't have any chance, sir, but what difference does it make now?
None, I guess. I just wondered. All right, Mr. Driscoll.
Yes, sir.
Put a general order on the PA. Emergency. All officers stand by boat station, prepare to abandon ship.
Yes, sir. Now?
Go ahead.
Attention. All officers stand by boat stations, prepare to abandon ship. All officers stand by boat stations, prepare to abandon ship. All officers stand by boat
Her brain already gone. Ship was dying. I knew that. I stayed alone on the bridge, tried to quiet her death throes, tried to hold back the confusion of idiocy that shook her limbs and parts. The wind was gone now, and a thick gray fog blanketed the decks and the sea beyond. Boats were lowered and swallowed up in it, one by one. Some of them lowered poorly to spill their human freight into the hungry, wet mouth of the sea. We were low in the water, down at the head. Already the bows were awash. But suddenly I noticed that the strange list of port was no longer with us. Why, we were floating level. And then for no sane reason, I wondered if the changed angle had let the door of number 7 cabin swing open. I left the bridge and hurried forward. The door was ajar and swung gently with the movement of the ship. I pushed it open and stepped into the cabin. It was empty. In the air was a strange, dry, musty smell, like old flowers long pressed in the pages of a book. At that moment, I turned, and the water was moving slowly toward me up the passageway. I heard Myro shout the order for casting off the last boat. I left the cabin, ran for the bridge.
Hello, Bradell.
Marilee.
Glad to see me?
Well, do you know the last boat just went over the side?
Sure. I was about to get in a boat, then I changed my mind.
Why?
When it's your time, you can't do much about it. And I knew it was when he first looked at me.
What are you talking about? When who looked at you?
That guy you called Dr. Percival?
He's not on board. I just came from cabin 7. It's empty.
Of course it is. Now. He's out prowling around the boat somewhere.
I saw him go ashore before we left New York.
And I saw him 3 minutes ago.
You're crazy.
He was standing beside that lifeboat, the one I didn't get in.
That lifeboat was your last chance to live. Why didn't you take it?
I thought it wouldn't be so lonesome to come here and die with you.
But you wouldn't have died.
Oh, Bradell, don't you know yet? It wouldn't have made any difference no matter what we did. Not with Dr. Percival on board.
What has Dr. Percival got to do with it?
Everything. When that lifeboat hit the water, it capsized. I knew it would. So you see, I'd have died anyway. Riddell, the water's coming up faster now.
Yeah. It's sinking fast. We'll go under any second.
He must be on his way here. We should be hearing his footsteps.
Who in the name of heaven is Dr. Percival?
Who do you think he is?
Escape is produced and directed by Norman MacDonald. Tonight we have brought you SS San Pedro by James Gould Cousins, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Featured in tonight's cast were John Daner and Charlotte Lawrence, with Jeff Corey, Don Diamond, Harry Bartell, Larry Dobkin, and Jay Novello. Special music by Ivan Ditmars. Next week,
you were standing in the light of an arc lamp by a cathedral in Mexico City, looking at a body lying in the grass. And then a great fear comes over you, and you wonder if you are a haunted man.
Next week, we escape with Ralph Bates' most unusual story, The Haunted Man. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Roy Rowan speaking for CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Fed up with the everyday grind. Tired out from the summer heat. Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape. Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are caught in a web of nightmare, struggling to free yourself from sleep, while constantly, threateningly, your destruction draws closer, and you know unless you awake, the ultimate conclusion is death.
Tonight, we escape to 2200 A.D. and the fearsome picture of the last days of civilization, as H.G. Wells told it in his terrifying story, Dream of Armageddon.
From the very beginning, the dream was quite vivid and real. Much more real than the dull world of business that moves by day. And in a short time, I began to thrust the waking world aside and live my life wholly in the dream, night by night. I was not then aware, of course, of the hideous ending to come. A thing so horrible to face that even though I doze now in my chair, I dare not sleep. I can't recall exactly when the dream, if it is a dream, first began. Oh, a month ago, perhaps. At any rate, I fell asleep in my flat and awoke in another place and another time. That is to say, as I fell asleep here, I awoke there, far away on an island in the Mediterranean, and hundreds of years in the future.
Keaton, Eden, you must wake up now.
Wake up? But where am I?
Here with me, of course. Oh, Eden, my dear, you've been dreaming.
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember now. It was such a vivid dream. I thought I was a man living hundreds of years ago. Silly, but it took me a moment to shake it off.
And was I there with you? In the dream, I mean.
You're here with me now. That's the important thing. Has there been no word? Nothing has changed?
Nothing. Otherwise, I should have awakened you.
Good. Perhaps they've finally decided to leave us alone.
I hope so. I couldn't stand much more of it. Our faces on every telescreen all over the world. Scandal criers, saying...
It doesn't matter, Noma. It's over. We've left all that behind us in the north. We're going to be very happy here.
Oh, my darling, we have to be. It's the only thing that will justify what you did.
Noma, can you doubt that we will? Come here. Look out through the glass wall there. Blue sea down below us, pale hills, and the far-off mainland. Why, is there any more perfect place to be happy than here in Capri?
And what of the woman you brought with you? Did you not perhaps give up too much for her? Pay too great a price?
You're worth more than all of it, Noma.
You make me feel very humble. You were the most powerful man on earth, Council Master of the Allied Nations of the North, the ruler of 1 billion people.
1 billion fools? Why, had they not been, they would have accepted you.
They felt they had reasons?
Reasons? Could not permit me to marry beneath my station now. I've given my whole life to them until now. Has a man no right to happiness, Noma? They follow their own desires. Why shouldn't I do the same for once?
Why not, indeed? I've no answer for you, beloved. I'm proud and humble for what you did. But also a little afraid.
Afraid of what?
I don't know, Eden, I don't know, but the Vicetel.
Your pardon, Master Eden. May I have your attention, please?
Yes. Yes, go ahead. What is it?
There is one here who desires to speak with you.
I'll see no one. I've told you that.
He tells me to say, the white grasses grow tall in the north and reach above the snow.
Eden, it's a messenger from the council.
Yes. Very well, send him up.
What does it mean? Have they thought of some new way?
No, my darling, it is nothing. He'll talk of duty again and all the other things, the same kind of talk. It can't be anything else.
If only they'd chosen someone besides Evesham to govern.
But they did choose him. If he doesn't suit them, they can find someone else. I'll have no part of it.
He's such a fool, such a stupid, blundering fool.
Perhaps they need a fool. Perhaps that's why... Oh, there's the messenger. Come in.
I must beg you to pardon this intrusion, Master Heathen, but the Council considers the matter of the greatest importance.
It's all right. Now, what is it you wish?
If we could speak alone, perhaps.
I have no secrets from the lady. She knows everything. Now, what is it?
I am empowered by the Council to ask you to return at once and take charge of the government again.
Alone?
Yes, that would be required, of course.
Then the Council wastes my time and theirs.
But there have been new developments. Evesham already has begun the moves we've always feared he would. That no one but you can stop this madness, this foolish ambition of his.
And more is the pity, for I do not choose to do anything about it.
You know what it means, of course.
I know nothing of the affairs of government. I am a private citizen engaged in seeking happiness.
Master Heaton, do you believe that one man can work out his fate apart and separate from the fate of all mankind?
You may leave now. You may go back and tell the Council that I have no concern in their problems now or ever.
Very well, Master Heaton. But if you should decide differently, decide quickly, for there is very little time.
Oh, Eden, is it true? Will it really come to that?
Probably. The South and the East are not easily bluffed.
But war. Loose in the world again for the first time in 100 years. War again.
They don't know what it is.
No, they don't. They've never seen it. Eden, you can't let it happen.
No, my darling, I've made a choice, and it's final. If it comes to war and the whole world falls in ruins, then I'll live on in the ruins. But I'll live there with you. That's final.
Eden, I'm afraid.
I calmed her fears at last with many brave prophecies of the joys we should find in our life together. And as we talked and watched the sun sink finally in the waters of the quiet sea, the blusterings of Evesham seemed far away, and the threat of war no more than a part of some nightmare. At a late hour, we fell asleep.
Henry.
Hmm?
Henry, wake up. I said wake up. Can't see why you always have to wait for me to shut off that clock.
Sorry, dear. I was dreaming.
Dreaming, indeed. I guess yourself dressed. You want to be late again this week?
Good chance of war. I don't know just what I can do about it.
Oh, Henry, for pity's sake.
One thing's certain, I won't give her up, no matter what happens.
Her? Who's her?
Oh, yes, of course. I'm getting up right this minute. I'll get dressed right away.
Henry,
there's no need to get excited, dear. There's plenty of time to catch the 7:12.
I never saw such a man in my life. Wasn't for me telling you what to do, I don't know what would become of you.
All that day at my office, I kept thinking about the dream. It was hard to remember that it had been a dream. It had been so real as everyday things going on around me. Perhaps even more real. Certainly more desirable. For, as you may have guessed, my daily life held little of interest. But in the dream, everything was different. There I could be the great master Hedon, controlling the destinies of millions of people, feeling for the first time in my life a deep and exhilarating sense of power, so sharp in its contrast with the drab, waking life I lead. And most of all, I could not forget the girl. The way she looked. The glorious way that she... Well, no matter. All day I kept wondering if I should be able to find the place again, so far away in space and time. Too long delayed, the night came at last, and I went to bed hopefully. But nothing happened. There was no dream. For 3 nights there was no dream, and I grew frantic with worry, with longing for her. And then came the 4th night.
Careful, darling. Watch where you're going. You almost fell over those rocks.
I'm sorry. I guess I was thinking of something else.
Yes, for 3 days now. You haven't been yourself at all.
Well, there are so many things to think about.
It's all right, Hedon. I've known you were thinking of it constantly, even though you've not mentioned it.
There's nothing new, is there?
What?
I mean, well, have you had any word that you've kept from me? Thought it best to? Something of that sort?
No, Hedon, no. I've had no word from the North. Oh. No one here has. Yep. Everyone seems to sense it. There's a fever in the air. Tenseness. So they could smell something. The smell of war, perhaps.
There'll be no war. Once Evesham knows his bluff's been called, he'll back down.
You know him better than that. You count on that blind luck of his to see him through. And you could stop him, Hedon. You could still go
There'll be no going back.
How can we hope to find happiness for ourselves if millions die because of us?
If it should start, it can't last long. People in the world today have no idea what war is. When they find out, they'll have no part of it.
When they find out, it'll be too late. There'll be blood on the ground then, and hate and vengeance. And there can be no stopping it.
Then why should not... Well, then the fools shouldn't... They shouldn't start it then.
But they are fools. You said yourself...
What?
Look.
Oh, planes. Some special pleasure flight from the north, I suppose.
Hedon, they don't look like transports. They're not built the same.
No.
They're like pictures of the
right.
old...
Those are war planes. Those are bombers.
It's begun already.
No, but it's part of the bluff, and the dangerous part. Those planes have been stored away for 100 years. I knew of them, of course. All the council did, but I never thought I'd see them in the air.
I fear it's a wrong, terrible thing we've done. And I'm afraid. But it would be a lie, my beloved, to I said I was sorry.
No more warplanes came to Capri in the next 2 days. But the sight and the sound of the first ones have been enough. The peaceful island of pleasure became a beehive of belligerent activity. Preparation for war by a people who had never known anything but peace. Old weapons, relics for years, came out of storage places, were cleaned, polished, made ready. Big guns appeared as if by magic, were quickly set in placements about the rocky isle. Norma and I took no part in the madness about us, but walked alone from the others. She with a growing sadness, and I with a swelling hatred for blind, blundering Evesham, and for the stupidity he'd called forth now in mankind. And then, late afternoon of the third day.
But why? Why do they act as if they might come here, Heaton? If there were a war, it could never reach to Capri.
Who knows why they act or what they think? There's no reasoning in them. They're like sheep, anxious to get their throats cut and have it over with.
It was all so beautiful, so beautiful, Heaton.
Oh, Norma, it still is. All this has nothing to do with us. We've turned our backs on it. What they do now is their own concern. This can't touch us.
So terrible to think about it. Heaton, look. The planes have come back.
Yes.
Coming over the hills there.
He's still playing the same old game. Oh, how long can that blundering Evesham hope to... Norma, these are not the same ones.
What do you mean?
I know the shape of these. These are warplanes from the south.
Then, oh no, it can't mean anything. Was that what they call a bomb?
That's what they call war.
War. Even I want to see it. All its horror and idiocy. I want to see it.
Not too close to the window, Norma.
Look, down there by the edge of the water. Where the little pavilion was, Eden. Nothing but broken rocks and smoke drifting up.
Yes, that's where the first bomb went.
But why should they wish to destroy a little summer pavilion?
An accident. But they were trying there for the docks.
We swam there every morning. Do you remember how clear and how clean the water was? There must be blood in it now.
Norma, there's no good in that kind of thinking. This is what they chose. Now they've got
it. They couldn't have known it would be like this.
Perhaps not, but that can't be helped now. It's too late now for them ever to turn back.
How could they ever? Eden, look. Look, Eden, that plane. Along the beach. The whole promenade. Hundreds of people and children, too. I don't want to see any more, not ever.
We've got to find some way to get out of here. Some way. Capri is right in the middle of it.
It was so beautiful here. Why should anyone make war on Capri?
Why? War has a bad habit of spreading everywhere once it's turned loose. Just a moment.
Supervisor from 22.
I'd like a private plane and a pilot right away. Destination to be decided.
Sorry, sir. All planes have been taken over by the government. General order by Master Evesham.
Confound it. All right. What about a boat?
Power boats have been taken over. Perhaps a few small sailing craft may be still available.
Find out. Get me a navigator and enough crewmen.
Sorry, sir. The government has ordered all able-bodied...
All right. Just get me a boat then. Buy it, charter it, whatever's necessary. I'll sail it myself.
Yes, sir.
Where can we go, Eden?
I don't know anywhere but here.
Yes, then let's go quickly. Take me away someplace, Eden, far away. Anywhere but here.
Then flight. Days of flight from stolid death in his military boots who tramped always just behind us. Never far away. I fought to stay asleep. To stay with my dream. To stay with Norma. I cursed each time I awoke.
I simply can't understand you, Henry. You moon around the house like a lovesick calf. Haven't been to the office in 3 days. Don't you have any consideration for your job or for me? Do you want to see us kicked out into the street like tramps without a cent to our name?
My waking life became the vague movement of shadow figures of which I remember nothing now. But my life in the dream was very real. Oh, yes, very real.
No. I've just come from there. You cannot go through the pass.
Why can't we?
It is impossible.
You must go back to the coast quickly.
Even can't you explain to him we must find some place to buy food? We had nothing to eat for 2 days.
No, lady. There is no food here. Everyone is starving. Pestilence has broken out.
Pestilence?
Horrible plague. Came suddenly. Already, people of 2 villages are lying dead in the gutters. It's spreading very quickly.
Come, Norma. Let's go back to the boat. We tried first to land somewhere along the southern shore of the Mediterranean. We found it everywhere the same. In some places, the people were dying of disease and starvation. In others, they were dying of bleeding burns from the flame of war. But always they would die.
Even everywhere we go, we find dead bodies. More and more all the time. What's happening? Has the whole world gone mad? Is the whole world dying?
Back again to the north and a landing on the peninsula. Then pushing our way overland, trying to find some haven in a world intent on smashing itself to bloody fragments. Fleeing from the idiot fury around us and being blocked at every turn.
You cannot go there. You must turn back immediately.
Why? Why must we turn back when there's no place left to go back to? Back where?
That I cannot tell you. But if you go farther, you will die. They have used poison gas, and the area is contaminated over hundreds of miles. I've seen people die from it. It is not a pretty sight.
Yes, everywhere.
Of course, if you would like to stay here, I'm sure we can take care of that pretty little throat of yours. Yes, indeed, we can.
There were no real battle lines as yet. No armies. The thing had come too fast. But everywhere roving bands fought, plundered, killed one another. Sometimes not even knowing if they were killing friend or foe. And always overhead were the planes, humming like hawks, killing anything that moved.
Eden, do you think he sees us?
I'm not sure, Norma. Don't move. Don't move. He's heading toward us, all right.
Eden, we can't just lie
Don't
here.
move, Norma. By heaven, I think it is us.
Look.
Where?
That old woman walking on the road. Doesn't she know? Oh, Eden, horrible. Horrible.
Norma, no. Let's go. It wasn't us he was after. And so, for love and for reason, on and on, day after day, we fled from the monster stupidity of war. Till at last we could flee no farther. We found ourselves at dawn one morning in an open space near those great ruined temples at Paestum. Roman ruins that have stood for centuries were still standing even then. We sat and watched the sunrise, the most beautiful I've ever seen. We said little to one another. Low hills broke away below us, dotted here and there by trees, low thickets of laurel between. The great stones of the temples above us were pale pink in the morning sun. And a silence was everywhere. Silence and a false feeling of peace.
This morning, looking out there, one would never know.
Oh, it's beautiful. But we can't stop here no more. We're only hours away from it now.
How much farther, Eden? How far must we run now?
I don't know, my dear. It seems to be everywhere.
Sometimes these last few nights, I've looked up at the stars and I've thought, all of this is happening because of us. We're to blame for it, you know.
No, darling. No, we tried to find happiness, that's all. Can there be anything evil in that?
I don't know, Keaton, but I'm afraid. Had you not run away with me, this would not have happened. Millions of people must die for our happiness. Something is wrong.
Well, the blame lies with them. They die for their own stupidity.
We are not stupid. We could have prevented it. Had you gone back and left me...
No, my darling. Now, there'll be no talk of that kind. We'll still find... We will. The chance to work things out somewhere.
I had a strange feeling, Eden. We shan't have any more chances. We owe some kind of a debt. They're going to have to pay for it very soon.
Oh, you're tired, Norma. That's why you talk this way. You'll soon
Look,
feel...
even another flight of planes.
Yes. Yes, they're everywhere now.
They're like vultures, hovering, watching and waiting everywhere.
Norma, we'll find someplace yet. Someplace. Norma, get down! Norma, you all right?
Eden, I love her.
Norma. I sat there on the ground for hours, holding her body close. I was only dimly aware that she no longer lived. Time had no meaning. The world receded far away. The shadows of afternoon pointed all one way, and my thoughts were only dreams within a dream. I must have stared at them for several minutes, not realizing who they were, watching them approach through the bushes. Before they came within yards, before it struck me suddenly, those uniforms. They were soldiers of the South and the East. With only one thought in mind, I jumped to my feet and ran toward them. No, it's all right. It's all right. You don't need those guns. I mean no harm. You see, I only wanted you not to come here. It's my wife. She's dead. There's no one else here. No, put away the bayonet. There's no need for it. You can take your men around the other... Now, what are you going to do? No! Oh. I lay there on the ground for a long time after they left. At first I tried to crawl back to her, but I couldn't. Then later I was unconscious. Whether this be Armageddon, that last flaming end of the world, I do not know. But of this I am sure. When the end does come, it shall come through man's unheeding selfishness, through man's stupidity. For when man stood up and learned to think and was no longer an animal, he became one with the gods. And like the gods, must take heed of the fate of mankind. This I know. Always before I had longed desperately to escape into the dream. But now with equal desperation I fear to do so. For Eden's world is dying now, shuddering in the last great convulsions of its death agony. Over the whole great landscape of earth lie the rotting, disfigured bodies of the dead. And the sad sun gleams with a pale and ghastly light through the smothering curtain formed by the hideous fumes of war. The moans of the half-dead swell up from the plains of earth, fill the vast emptiness of the heavens, and go unanswered. Starvation, pestilence, war, and death. The whole world is dying. Eden, too, is dead. He died hours before I awoke this morning. His body still lies before the silent temples of Paestum. Yet in the dream I still occupied his body. after he was dead. Great vultures came and tore with their beaks and claws, and I was still conscious. I was still conscious. Now tonight, because of that, though I grow faint with weariness, I dare not go to sleep. In the name of heaven, how long will a dream go on?
Escape is produced and directed by Norman Macdonald. Tonight we have brought you Dream of Armageddon by H.G. Wells, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with editorial supervision by John Dunkel. Featured in tonight's story were Stacey Harris and Betty Lou Gerson, with Charlotte Lawrence, Jack Prussian, Eric Rolfe, and John Daner. Special music by Ivan Ditmars. Next week.
You are standing in the light of an arc lamp by the cathedral in Mexico City, looking at a dead body lying at your feet, and a great fear comes over you as you wonder if you are a haunted man.
Next week, we escape with Ralph Bates' most unusual story, The Haunted Man. Good night, then, until this same time next week, when once again we offer you Escape. Roy Rowan speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.